Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law. Today, we're on the campus of Ouachita Baptist University at Waggoner Pool for a dual meet matchup between the Truman State Bulldogs and your Ouachita Baptist Tiger Sharks. And bear with us today as we're dealing with a little bit of static on the stream, but today we will make sure to deliver you with the same amount of commentary that we always do. Up first, we'll be having the women's 400-yard medley relay, followed by the men's event in that same regard. But as for the Truman State Bulldogs, they are part of the Grand Lakes Valley Conference. Last season they finished 9th of 10 teams in the conference, and they're coached by Ouachita's own Jacob Ragsdale. So this meet was put together by Bostic and Ragsdale, or Coach Stephen Bostic of Ouachita and Ragsdale, as kind of a homecoming meet for Jacob Ragsdale himself, and more of a just fun meet. As you can see, swimmers are all suited up in their tech suits today, and we are extremely excited to get this going for y'all. So as for your Ouachita Tiger Sharks, they finished 3rd of 4 in the North-South Intercollegiate Swimming Conference last season on the men's side, and on the women's side they finished 4th of 5 in the conference. And this season they're hoping to do a lot better with some new transfers and some new freshmen coming in. And then the Ouachita men's side, just a couple weeks ago on November 15th, they were placed in the CSCAA poll at number 20. The men's team was. So lots of lofty expectations for them this year. Hopefully that they can reach them. And now we are standing for the national anthem. And folks, with that, we're getting ready to start. First with the women's 400-yard medley relay. In lane 4, the Ouachita Tiger Sharks with a relay headed by Abigail McMahon, Tori Weems, Tiffany Nordstrom, and Aaron Russo. In lane 5 is Truman State with Jamia Harley going first. Going second, Chloe Myers. Third, Sydney Durbin. And fourth, Taylor Graham. And then in lane 6 is your Ouachita Tiger Sharks. Going first here in the backstroke is Jamison Tankersley, followed up by Keely Holcomb, then Rachel Del Angel in the butterfly, and Dee Dee Christensen finishing off the relay in lane 6 with freestyle. And starting off the race, Jamia Harley looks to be taking a quick lead. So about the 400-yard medley relay, it is 100 yards of each swimming stroke, starting off with backstroke, then breaststroke, then butterfly, then freestyle. Harley looks to be taking an early lead here into the 50 turn, but following close behind over in lane 6 is Jamison Tankersley of the Ouachita Tiger Sharks. And you know, this Ouachita team, this Ouachita women's team has some fight in them this season. They have been able to win some very tough races behind just the heart and the tenacity of what has been just a very hard-working team. This Truman State team, though, has some very, very fast swimmers on the women's side, and Harley showing that here, you know, finishing first in the backstroke, going straight into Chloe Myers in the butterfly, or in the breaststroke, excuse me. And then right off the bat is Keely Holcomb, catching up a little bit to Myers in lane 5. Over in lane 4, again, is Tori Weems, the junior captain of Ouachita. But, going back to this Ouachita women's team, you see Keely Holcomb in the water right now. Lots of talent that they can 100% build off of this season. Something that is just a very good sign that they beat Henderson. The women's team beat the Henderson State Reddies, one of the top teams in the nation, just a few weeks ago at Henderson across the street. And it has been just such an impressive season for them, and the only good things are to come for this team. And as you see, Myers takes a little bit of a lead going into the butterfly, heading it off to Sydney Durbin from Truman State, and then Rachel Delangel will take over in the butterfly over in lane 6 for Ouachita. And then as Weems finishes up in lane 4 with her breaststroke, Tiffany Nordstrom will pick up the mantle in the butterfly. And as you can see, Rachel Delangel looks to be gaining a little bit on Durbin. Delangel is one of those swimmers that can surely get you a race back. Rachel Delangel has lots of fight in her. We've all seen her many times come back from what seems to be an insurmountable lead because of the sheer endurance and strength that she carries in her underwater specifically, as you see Rachel Delangel. And now she will be sending it off to the final leg of this 400 freestyle relay as Rachel Delangel takes the lead, sends it off to Dee Dee Christensen, but as well, Taylor Graham will be taking over in lane 5 for Truman. Christensen is the fastest freestyler on the women's side for this Ouachita team, and as you can see right there, her kick is something to be marveled. She has one of the strongest kicks on the women's team here, as she just keeps this lead for the Lady Tiger Sharks into the final 50, and Taylor just cannot catch up so far. But we will see what happens going into the final lap. You see over there on the side, Coach Dawson Pritchard, assistant coach of the Ouachita Tiger Sharks, getting very excited for his team. And here's Christensen going into the final stretch. And barring any mix-up, it looks like Christensen is going to finish in first place, giving the Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks their first win of the day in the first event of the day, with finishing in 3:56.68 in the 400-yard medley relay, as over in lane 4, Aaron Russo finishes it up for the Lady Tiger Sharks, getting them third. So the event goes first Ouachita, second Truman State, and third the Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks. And now next up, we've got the men in the 400-yard medley relay. In lane 3, Ouachita C relay. We've got Noah Smith, Angel Medina, Colton Martinez, and Chad Gescheidel. Lane 4 is Truman State with Jackson Mickles, Aiden Moore, Philip So, and Drake Durbin. In lane 5, it's Barrett Troop, Miles Schultz, Elijah Christensen, and Sam Ragsdale. Lane 6, it's Truman with Alex Burkhart, Ashton Bailey, Miles McIntyre, and Gavin Bergman. And in lane 7, it's Ethan Smith, Justin Olette, Fernando Bastillo, and Alex Schultz. Looking for a very interesting relay here. Ouachita has had lots of relay switches this season with their men's team. Just lots of talent on this men's side. They ranked 20th in the nation, so they have to bring that. They have to bring that every single day. Starting off with the backstroke for every team. Noah Smith for the C relays in lane 3. Lane 4, Jackson Mickles for the Truman. Lane 5, Barrett Troop for Ouachita. Lane 6, Alex Burkhart for Truman. And in lane 7, not Ethan Smith, excuse me, is a typo. That is Ethan Sparks. But as we see here, Troop and Sparks getting a very early lead. Ethan Sparks is only a freshman, Barrett Troop a senior, but both swimmers just have incredible underwaters in their backstroke, as you can see. And Smith, what an incredible performance. He's typically a taper swimmer, but today, he is showing that he does not need a taper to go fast. Same with Barrett Troop over there. And right now it might be in the backstroke. Ouachita might be 1, 2, 3, if not for lane 6 over there. And Alex Burkhart. Going into the breaststroke leg is Justin Ouellette in lane 7, the sophomore. And over in lane 6 is Ashton Bailey. In lane 5 is your breaststroke is the record holder for the Ouachita Tigers in the 100 breaststroke, Miles Schultz. In lane 4 for Truman is Aiden Moore, and over in lane 3 is I am specialist and amazing breaststroker Angel Medina. As you can see, Schultz, broke the team record just a couple weeks ago in Oklahoma in the 100 breaststroke, is back at it again with just an incredible race. But you see over there the young Justin Ouellette, some people don't like to call him Doug, using that chug jug to go absolutely crazy in the breaststroke, only slightly behind the Miles Schultz, as Miles Schultz sends it off to Elijah Christensen. Christensen, a senior, has shown his tenacity in these races. He does some of the harder races. He typically does the 200 butterfly and 200 freestyle, but he can sprint his butt off, as you can see here, just gaining a big lead for the Tiger Sharks, while over in Christensen, amazing underwaters as always, gonna head it off to Sam Ragsdale, the sophomore. Just what an incredible. Colton Martinez is heading it off to the senior captain, Chad Gescheidel. And over in lane 6, fighting for third place, is Truman's Gavin Bergman. And then finishing off the breaststroke leg in lane 4 is finishing off the butterfly leg, is Philip So, heading it off to Drake Durbin. And here's Ragsdale going into the final 25. It does not look like anyone is even close to catching him today. And then over in lane 7, you see Alex Schultz, who looks like he's got second firmly grasped. And then over in lane 3, Gescheidel looks like he has a race with lane 6. But if all stays as it is, it looks like the Ouachita Tiger Sharks are going to go 1, 2, 3 today in the 400-yard medley relay. As Ragsdale slaps the water, what a great race for all swimmers in that. What a great race for Ouachita. Just a great, absolute knockout punch. Just the first event for them. As Truman finishes up, we'll now be heading into the distance events today, starting with the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. Yes, folks, I said 1,000-yard freestyle. That is 40, 25, 40 lengths of the pool. That is 20 laps. Now, while it might look boring, or not boring, but while it might look very long and sometimes a little bit tedious, it is a race of pure iron will, something that you need all of the tenacity here. And bringing that tenacity for the Lady Tiger Sharks in lane 5 is Kate McCown. Going up against 3 other Truman swimmers. In lane 4, Ella Thompson. Lane 6, Meg Heverow. And in lane 7, Abby Bombel. Kate McCown will need to bring the tenacity that the Lady Tiger Sharks are known for. One thing you're going to see about Kate McCown is her stroke rate is incredible. The fact that she can keep swimming fast for this incredibly long is something that is just unmatched among any swimmer that I have ever seen. In lane 6 is Meg Heverow. She has the fastest time for the Lady Bulldogs this season for Truman at a 10:24 at their last meet. And so just going into this Lady Truman team, they've got some very, very quick swimmers. Emily Trube, who you will see later in the 50 freestyle, has 3 B-cuts herself in the 50 freestyle, 100 freestyle, and 200 freestyle. And then Heverow in the 500 freestyle has broken 5 minutes, going a 4:59.05 just a couple weeks ago. And as you see, Heverow takes an early lead going into at the 100 mark. And then here's Heverow going into the 125. Folks, we are on our way here. We are just 1/8 the way there, but as you can see, Kate McCown is a fighter, and she's going to stay in this race. Let's previewing the next race because we've got a little bit of time here. We've got 3 swimmers in the next race, the men's 1,000-yard freestyle. Two of our own Ouachita swimmers. In lane 4 will be Jacob Lewis. Lane 5, Peyton Sewell. In lane 6, David Pinnell. I will remember to remind you all of that later. But going into just what the growth of this Ouachita team this season, you've seen a lot of swimmers get better times this season, especially with the incoming freshmen and things like that. As you see, excuse us with the audio issues here. But as you see, counting for McCown, not in the water here. Bit of a surprise for the Tiger Sharks is Anna Phelps, freshman Anna Phelps. She won at the Oklahoma Christian Invite, won the 1,000-yard freestyle, and today is notably absent. But while she might not be swimming that, she will be in the 200-yard butterfly, another event of hers. We always like to make fun of Anna because she just does all the events that everybody doesn't like to do. But somebody's got to do them, and she will. And as Heverow goes into her flip here, McCown keeping a steady lead in second here. If the Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks want to keep that steady lead that they got in the medley relay, a second place finish by McCown here would be very important. And then as we're here, Heverow still keeps that big lead going just under at the 4-minute mark, as Kate McCown follows behind in second place, a very safe second place. So let's talk a little bit about this Ouachita. Let's talk more about this Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks team. Especially in Division II, it is really hard to recruit women's swimming because of the sheer amount of D1 programs for women in swimming. But Coach Stephen Bostic and Dawson Pritchard have contributed an incredible amount of effort into bringing in not just fast swimming, not just fast girls, but also just an incredible team culture that this girls team has brought in. As Kate McCown flips at number 17, going into number 18, she is just 150. This Ouachita girls team has established a culture this season that is going to be hard to rival across the street for Henderson. Before every single meet, they have a prayer circle, and it's something that you don't see among many women's squads. On the men's side, you see a lot of similar things, but it was all brought on by a nice women's culture. And props here to Kate McCown as she flips at the halfway point. We are now halfway there in the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. As Kate McCown still keeps her second place, and knowing her it looks like she will be keeping that. Now, you can't always say with still 450 yards left to go, McCown still has a very long way to go. But with what she's got and what past experience has shown us, she will not be giving up said lead, said second place finish. As Heverow very heavily ahead over in lane 6 for the Truman State Lady Bulldogs. And here's McCown flipping. And there over you see Coach Jacob Ragsdale putting his fists up. That is usually the signal, a good pace for swimmers. And so you put fists up that you need to go faster. And then typically towards later in the race, or if you're racing somebody, you will see them start to, get a little bit more frantic with their movements. One thing about this Ouachita culture that you see is you see so many swimmers getting on the side over here, cheering for their swimmers in a distance event, an event that's very long and very hard to keep energy through. But over there on the side, you see many Ouachita swimmers cheering on their team, getting excited for their team. I mean, it's something that's very admirable in a culture shift that has been a long time coming, but something that is really, really good to see for this team. And as you see over in lane 1, they're also repurposing that as a warm-up, warm-down lane. Especially with only 4 swimmers, it is something that is going to be very vital for this team later in the meet, so that they can stay in shape, keep their bodies in shape and not too sore. As McCown flips, we are just a couple minutes away from a second-place finish, hopefully for her, as Hevero looks to be gaining on McCown almost like she can't. Looks to be very close to lapping McCown. Hevero is a very talented distance swimmer. Like I said earlier, has a 10:24.88 as her best time in the 1,000 this season. But looks to be on pace to maybe go faster than that as she goes into lap 33. She's only 7, now 6 at this turn here. Only 6:25s away from finishing. And there is still lots of time for her to drop. There's still over 2 minutes left in this race. And she has a 1:50 left, and at this turn will be at the 1:25 mark. So going into her final 100 in just a couple seconds, Hevero looks to be passing McCown, who looks to be picking up the pace a little bit because she sees Hevero over in lane 6. But as Hevero flips, she is now starting her final 100, and she has over 2 minutes, or she has a little less than 2 minutes to break her season best, and it looks like she might. Hevero, who is very close to a D2 B cut. She is just 0.3 off a B cut in the 1,000. Looks to be on pace for a B cut here if she can keep this pace up. Just a 50 remaining. She's just a 50 remaining, or at this turn here, we'll have just a 50 remaining as they ring the bell. She has just a 50 remaining and is only 40 seconds and has to only get this 50 done in less than 40 seconds to get this B cut. An A cut is a 9:54, which she will miss here, but a B cut is still in the cards for her. A B cut for her means that she has the chance to make nationals in this 1,000 later this season if there are not enough swimmers that make it later. As Hevero goes into the final 25, it looks like she is fully set to get this B cut. As she finishes with a time of 10:15.12. That is well under the B cut for them, meaning that she may well swim at nationals this season in Ohio. As McCown goes into her final 50, looks like she has second place firmly grasped. As you can see, McCown at the end of this race, tired, beaten up, but she does not look it. She's still swimming with an incredible stroke rate. And if she keeps this up, she looks like she will finish just under 11 minutes. An incredible time for this point in the season after what has been a tough week of practice. As she finishes, looks like it was a bit of a soft touch there, but it looks like she finished just around a 10:55, 10:56 range, which is a pretty good time for her at this point in the season. And I know she will not be upset with that. And then finishing off over in lane 4 for the Truman State Lady Bulldogs is Ella Thompson, the freshman for them. And looks like she will finish it just over 10:30 at 11:30, excuse me, with an 11:33.57. What a race, and more to come for the Tiger Sharks, as now we have our men's event. Like I was saying earlier, in lane 4, Jacob Lewis. In lane 5 is Peyton Sewell. And in lane 6 is David Pinnell. A bit of starting confusion here for the race. And now the swimmers will be stepping down. Looks to be a bit of technical difficulties on the meets part. But as you can hear on the microphone, lots of Truman State swimmers still getting hyped for their swimmer, Peyton Sewell over there. Sewell does have the fastest 1,000 free time this season for the Bulldogs with a 10:04.18 at the last meet that they went to. And then over in lane 4 is Jacob Lewis, who has been a distance swimmer for the Tigers for 3 years now. And then in lane 6, the freshman David Pinnell, coming back from a broken foot. You know, this will be just his second meet back after dealing with a broken foot all season. You can see Pinnell still favoring that foot on the block. And still a bit of technical difficulties here. I can imagine that it is just a lot for these swimmers. The 1,000 freestyle is a bit of a intimidating race. I could tell you, because at the last meet, home meet here, I swam 1,000 freestyle. And they're finally off. One thing to watch here is Sewell versus Pinnell. While Lewis is also a very talented distance swimmer, Pinnell I'm very intrigued to watch here, because we have not fully seen him swim the 1,000 in a while. Jacob Lewis over here, though, does have a time under 10 minutes, so Lewis very well could come away with the win, and very may well come away with the win here. I could not tell you who truly could win this race. It is 3 on 3. It is 3 people here that all have the chance of winning. But starting off fast is Pinnell and Lewis, giving Ouachita the early lead at the 100 flip turn. If Sewell does not go here, and it looks like, yes, Ouachita will have the lead at the 100. Jacob Lewis in first with a 56.7 to go out, and Pinnell with a 57.1, and in lane 5, Sewell with a 57.9. And then you see counting for all these swimmers, you've got over in lane 4, counting for Lewis is Samuel Goins. And then counting for Pinnell over in lane 6 is Chad Gescheitel, captain. Now going into this men's Ouachita team, something that you're going to see off the bat when you watch them swim is just the fighting spirit in this team. You know, last time we had a OSDN broadcast, you watched the 200 freestyle where they raced against Delta State. Delta State had the highest seed time in the event, but you saw both Jeff McCoy and Tyler Andrus fight to get their hand on the wall first, winning in a speedo, which typically has considerably slower times. In a speedo, both going 143s. The 200 freestyle will be coming up right after this. But first, we will be watching this 1,000, and it looks like these guys are staying pretty pat down. It's Lewis, Pinnell, Sewell, but all within 1 second of each other. This is one of those 1,000 races that you want to keep your eyes on, because this is one of those races that is going to tell, that it's going to be one of the races you look back on when you see who wins this meet. Also, make sure to stay tuned till later when we have our diving, where Lena Connor will be joining us on the stream. Very excited for that. But heading into this part of the race, it is very close, all within 1 second of each other still. That is lap 14 for them, which means very close here as they head into the 15 turn. Very close to halfway, and there has been no separation between these three swimmers. In fact, Sewell looks to be gaining just a tad bit on Pannell. We will see at the wall here where they'll be at going into this 400 mark here. And at the 400 mark, all of them at 400. In lane 4, Jacob Lewis barely leads, but 0.6 seconds behind is Sewell, and then 0.1 seconds behind him, 0.06 behind is Sewell, and 0.1 seconds behind him is David Pannell, all within a second, all 400. Folks, this is going to be a race to watch. Sewell's best time is at only a 10:04, while Lewis has shown that he might be able to keep it under 10. But at the pace he's going at, it looks like he will be around 10 today. Same with Pannell. But going into this part of the race, Sewell looks to be gaining a bit of an advantage. And now headed into the halfway point of this race, it is Sewell and Lewis barely out front, as Pannell maybe has an arm's length, a hand's length behind the two. And going into the flip at halfway, it's going to be Lewis first, Sewell second, and then 0.04 behind Sewell is Pannell. Folks, we've got ourselves a close one still at halfway. When I said there was going to be a stream today, these swimmers wanted to give us a show, and that's what they're doing today. As Sewell might have a bit of an advantage, but as you've seen, Jacob Lewis's flip turns have been quick to get to the wall, but Sewell does take the lead going into the 600 mark. Sewell just a 0.24 advantage over Lewis, and then Pannell just 0.2 behind Lewis. And then going into lap number 24, that is the 600 mark, excuse me. Now it is the 600 mark. It looks like Sewell with a 0.2, a 0.2 of a second advantage over Jacob Lewis, while Pannell looks to be falling behind just a little bit here. Can Lewis pick it up a little bit? And can Pannell possibly maybe make a comeback here? Sewell looks to be pulling away just a little bit, but Lewis is not going to let him do that. As they go into the final flip, Lewis takes a little bit more of an advantage off Sewell. Only 0.1 behind this time at the 650 mark. Jacob Lewis is not going to let Sewell go down without a fight here. Jacob Lewis is not going to go down without a fight here, as he holds very consistently with Sewell going into the 700 mark. Can Lewis take a lead and this flip? They're at the flags. They flip here. And Sewell looks like he had a bit of a soft touch, so we're not going to see his time here at the 700 mark. But going into the 3/4 mark, now we will see what they have. But going into this flip turn, Lewis has a bit of an advantage. We'll see if he can keep it going into the touchpad here. It is going to be a little bit weird seeing Sewell, because the clock will not stop for him because of the soft touch he had at the 700. But going into this flip, Lewis with a 0.3 of a second lead over Sewell. Jacob Lewis has that fight in him as he's showing here. A 25 left till the 800 mark. Just a 200 left to swim for these swimmers, and it is still tight as ever between Jacob Lewis and Peyton Sewell of Truman State. Jacob Lewis, a junior. Peyton Sewell, a freshman. Two swimmers that really want to win this race. It is going to come down, folks, to the finish. Pennell falling behind a little bit. As Lewis going here into the flip, looks to be 150 left here at the 34 lap count, and Lewis a little bit of a lead over Sewell still. Could he be pulling away here? We will see. 125 yards left to go for these swimmers. Lewis a little bit more of an advantage than he has had this entire race. It is getting to the point where these swimmers are going to get desperate for a win. But Lewis keeps that kick going into the final 100 of this race. Final 100 here. Can Lewis keep his kick up? Sewell starting to get desperate. You can see it. But Lewis is pulling away with a 75 left to go. And folks, this is why I love the 1,000-yard freestyle. A race that might start out very close, that might start out very boring, is going to get interesting as Lewis into the final 50 takes a considerable advantage. Can Sewell catch up to him with a 50 sprint at the end? Lewis going into the final length of this race. As the bell rang, and Lewis looks like if he can keep it up, and he will, he is going to take the 1,000-yard freestyle title here at Waggoner Pool. As David Pennell over there in lane 6 is going to finish in third. What a race for the Tiger Sharks. What a race for Jacob Lewis. Very, very, very encouraging for this Tiger Shark team to know that they have another very reliable distance swimmer in Jacob Lewis, as Pennell finishes in third with a 10:25. Very impressive time for him as well at this point in the season. You know, coming off a broken foot, you know, that's as good as you can expect from him right now. And now, folks, we have what I think might be one of the most exciting events of the day is the women's 200-yard freestyle. In lane 3 for Ouachita is junior Elise Henderson. In lane 4 for Truman, Taylor Graham. In lane 5 is sophomore for Ouachita, Keely Holcomb. Lane 6, Emma Harris. Lane 7, Ouachita sophomore Jamison Tankersley. And in lane 8 is Natalie Nagayan for Truman. One swimmer to watch here in lane 5 is going to be Keely Holcomb. Keely Holcomb has shown her ability to be successful in just about any event on the board, as she takes a very early lead in the 200 freestyle going into after the first 50 here. 200 freestyle is 4 laps in the pool, so there will be no need for timers. As you can see, though, these swimmers are putting a considerable more amount of effort into this race than into the 1,000 due to it, you know, being a lot shorter. But as Holcomb is going to take a very, very big lead, you've got in second place over in lane 6, Emma Harris for Truman. And then in third, it looks to be a big fight between lane 7, Jamison Tankersley, and lane 4, Taylor Graham. Actually, lane 8, Natalie Nagayan looks to be having a bit of a surge as well going into this final 100 here of the 200 freestyle. Over in lane 3, though, Elise Henderson looks to be catching up to lane 4, Taylor Graham. So there's going to be a big race over here. Elise Henderson, bit of a distance swimmer, but she can get up and go in the sprint as well, as you can see here with that incredible kick. Keely Holcomb, though, just amassing a huge lead. And then it is Keely Holcomb in first, and then over in lane 6, it is Emma Harris, and then it is everyone else. But Elise Henderson making a strong push for third over in lane 3 for the Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks. Elise Henderson, she wants it. Can she possibly, it does not look like she's going to get second, but it looks like she could very well finish in third. But Nagayan over in lane 8 might have an advantage. And Henderson is going to get third, so it's going to go Holcomb for the Lady Tiger Sharks in first. In second, Emma Harris for the Lady Bulldogs. And in the third, Elise Henderson over in lane 3 for the Lady Tiger Sharks. Next up is the men's 200-yard freestyle. Heat 1, lane 3 is junior Tristan Richard. Lane 4 is freshman Colt Martinez. Lane 5 is Reed Little from Truman State. Lane 6 is David Ware, freshman from Ouachita. Lane 7 is Jack Hoyen, freshman from Ouachita. And lane 8 is sophomore from Ouachita, James Savarese. And as you can see, the depth of the Ouachita Tiger Sharks here, this is just the first heat, meaning there is a faster heat coming up, and you still see plenty of very fast swimmers in this heat. One swimmer to watch in this race is going to be David Ware over in lane 6. Very quick off the start, but also just a very quick swimmer in many sprint events. But you see over in lane 3, Tristan Richard coming off a shoulder injury and was not able to swim in Oklahoma. Looks to be, making a very strong case for first. It is 1, 2, 3, Richard in first, Ware in second, and then over in lane 8 is Savarese in third. Going into the second 100. But you see over in lane 4 for the Tiger Sharks, Colton Martinez making a bit of a push here. In first and second, going into the final 50, it's going to be Savarese and Richard. We'll wait to see who is going to be first. Oh boy, and it is Richard by 0.2 seconds in first going into the final 50. But Colton Martinez and David Ware look to be making a strong push for second, as well as Savarese barely flips ahead of Ware. But Ware, with that kick, might come from behind and get this one. And he does. In lane 6, David Ware, the freshman, with a 1:48.1, finishes first in the heat. James Savarese second with a 1:48.17, just 0.03 behind first place Ware, and then just 0.4 behind that in third is junior Tristan Richard. What an incredible comeback for him. And here is heat 2 for the men's 200-yard freestyle. In lane 3, Gavin Bergman from Truman State. Lane 4, Tyler Andrews from Ouachita. Lane 5, AJ Kohler from Truman. Lane 6 is Jeff McCoy, a senior from Ouachita. Lane 7 is Colin Wolfmeyer from Truman. And lane 8 is Elijah Christensen, senior from Ouachita. Tyler Andrews is a junior from Ouachita. So after the first 50, one swimmer to watch here is AJ Kohler from Truman State. His best time is a 1:38.05 in this race. Kohler has a B cut in the race. But as you can see, Andrus holding tight with him at the 75 mark. And Andrus, typically a distance swimmer, has a bit of endurance in him to stay with it. But also you see in lane 6, Jeff McCoy, who's got incredible shoulders and will be able to, and also has the ability to win this race. But going into the final 75 here, looks to be Kohler has a bit of an advantage, but McCoy and Andrus following close behind. And over in lane 8, Elijah Christensen keeping himself up as well, as Kohler takes a considerable advantage going into the final 50. Can Andrus and McCoy possibly catch up here? Andrus looks to be riding the wave of Kohler a little bit close to the lane line. Kohler, man, it is Kohler and everyone else, as he is going to finish in first with Andrus and McCoy close behind. And Kohler with a 1:39.3. Andrus with a 1:41.2, and in third, Jeff McCoy, the senior, with a 1:42.0. Folks, that is just off a pool record I believe that is just off a pool record. And then next up, after that incredible race, also in lane 8, Elijah Christensen finishing in 4th. After that is the women's 50-yard freestyle. This is heat 1. Lane 4, Kate Cheshire, freshman from Ouachita. Kylie Strobel from Truman State in lane 5. Tori Weems, lane 6 from Ouachita. And Peyton Wells, lane 7 from Truman. It's a 50 freestyle, so it's going to be quick. It looks to be in lane 5. Strobel has the lead. And Strobel is going to win it. But in lane 6, Tori Weems, captain, junior captain of Ouachita, is going to finish second in the heat with a 27.7. Strobel, what an incredible time, though. 25.00 for the Lady Bulldogs. All right, here we go. Heat 2. Lane 3, Chloe Myers from Truman. Lane 4, Rachel Del Angel from Ouachita. Emily Traub from Truman. She has a B cut in this event. Lane 6, Dee Dee Christensen from Ouachita. And lane 7, Jamia Harley from Truman. In lane 8, Sophie Derby from Ouachita. You're going to watch Traub here. Traub can sprint, as you can see, has a B cut in all 3 women's sprint events, the 100, 50, and 200 freestyles. And 23.93. Traub is going to finish, but Christensen very close behind in lane 6 with a 24.3. Traub just barely missing the pool record here in the 50 freestyle. All right, next up is heat 1 of the men's 50-yard freestyle. Lane 4, Bennett Bibza. Lane 5, Chad Gashidle. Lane 6, Jack Stevens. And lane 7, Barrett Troop. Here again is another display of Ouachita's depth. All 3 talented sprinters. And this is the first of 3 heats. And finishing first is Barrett Troop with a 22.5. And second in lane 4 is going to be Bibza. And third, lane 5, Gashidle. And fourth in lane 6 is going to be Jack Stevens with a 23.4. All right, heat 2 is up now. Lane 2 is Ian Redmond. Lane 4, Ethan Sparks. Lane 5, Jackson McAllis from Truman State. Lane 6, Fernando Bastillo from Ouachita. Rafael Bastillo, lane 7 from Ouachita. And in lane 8, Blaze Hood from Ouachita. Folks, this is just heat 2 of 3. Get ready for heat 3, which will have some incredible swimmers. But Bastillo has a lead here, and he finishes with a 21.7. Just 0.5 off his season best there. All right, now next up is heat 3. In lane 3, Alex Schultz from Ouachita. Lane 4, Drake Durbin from Truman State. Lane 5, Sam Ragsdale from Ouachita. Lane 6, Cameron Lee from Truman State. Lane 7, Miles Schultz from Ouachita. And lane 8, Evan Grinter from Truman State. Guys, you're going to need to keep your eye on Sam Ragsdale. Here he is going for a sub-21 time. Incredible sprinter, but over in lane 3, Alex Schultz with the fight, but you also see lane 7, Miles Schultz with a bit of a sprinter's mindset. Who's going to finish first? Ragsdale with a 21.1. In second, it's going to be Miles Schultz with a 21.6. And in third, just behind him, his twin brother, Alex Schultz, with a 21.7. Ouachita goes 1, 2, 3 in the 50-yard freestyle here. And now a bit of a longer event with the women's 400-yard IM, where we'll see today's debut of Anna Phelps, the star freshman from New Jersey. So for the women's 400-yard IM, lane 3, Kaylee Sticka. Lane 3, Kaylee Sticka, freshman from Ouachita. Lane 4, Sydney Durbin from Truman State. Lane 5, Anna Phelps, freshman from Ouachita. Lane 6, Allison Heaney from Truman State. And in lane 7, the junior from Ouachita, Emma Ballantyne. One thing to watch here is to see if Phelps can gain the early lead in the butterfly. Phelps is a very talented butterflyer, but so is Sydney Durbin of the Lady Bulldogs. So if Phelps can gain an early lead in the butterfly and keep it in the backstroke, she has this race firmly in hand with a very talented breaststroke. And then one thing to also watch in lane 7 is going to be Emma Ballantyne, who also has a very talented breaststroke, but has also found a very good niche as an IMer for this team. And Phelps going into the final stretch of the butterfly leg of this 400 IM. She has already taken a considerable lead. And in first, Phelps after the first 100, and it goes, and Durbin in lane 4 is second, and in third is lane 6. No, third is lane 7, Emma Ballantyne from Ouachita. Anna Phelps still keeping that lead in the backstroke. She's not typically known as a backstroker, but she can swim it just as fast as just as fast as anyone else. She also won this 400 IM at the Henderson dual meet and in Oklahoma at the OC Eagles Invite just a couple weeks ago. So Anna Phelps has plenty of experience swimming this event, and she knows exactly how to swim it. As you can see here, just taking what is an already massive lead with only half of the race done, and she has not even reached her two best events, breaststroke and freestyle. There's also an argument to be made that she is good at butterfly, but with her breaststroke talent, it's a hard argument to make. And then here we go, starting the breaststroke leg. This is where Ballantyne could take a lead, or could take second place away from Durbin and Heaney from Truman State. Ballantyne is a very, very skilled breaststroker. And here we go, Phelps, one more 50 left of breaststroke, finishing with at 2:54. It'll be interesting to see what time she has after the breaststroke leg, because that'll tell how much time she has left in this 100. The 400 IM team record for Ouachita, set by Katie Patterson in 2010, is a 4:26.89. Phelps is trying to break that today. Can she knock down a 13-year-old record? She's also trying to break the pool record here, set by Kay Tombers from Delta State back in 2015. With just 100 left to go, she's got to pick up the pace if she wants to get that team record of 4:26. Just a 75 left to go, and she's got about 36 seconds left. Can she do it? Here we go, Phelps going into the final lap. Will she be able to break a pool record? We'll check and see what the record is at this moment. I cannot. And Phelps finishes with a time of 4:39. Looks like it might be just short of a pool record, but she finishes in first as Ballantyne and Sticka are going to finish in fourth and fifth here. Sticka with another 50 to go. But impressive times for both girls from Ouachita and both girls from Truman. Ballantyne actually beating her season best by 2 seconds today. Right now we're trying to check and see what the women's pool record is, see how close Phelps was off of that. And it looks like Phelps was just 10 seconds off a women's 400 IM pool record set by Tom Burs from Delta State just about 8 years ago, excuse me. And now up we have the men's 400 IM. Lane 3, Justin Ouellette, sophomore from Ouachita. Lane 4, Ashton Bailey from Truman. Lane 5, Noah Smith, senior captain from Ouachita. Lane 6, Philip So from Truman. And lane 7, Angel Medina, junior from Ouachita. Interesting fact, Medina is actually my roommate, and Justin Ouellette is actually my suite mate. But Smith here looks to be taking a considerable lead, but Medina over in lane 7, not typically known as a butterflyer, but he can get up and go as well in the butterfly, and that's exactly what he's doing here. Folks, just wait until we get to the breaststroke leg for Medina and Ouellette. That is where they shine. Justin Ouellette, just one of 3 swimmers this season, I believe. No. Yes, just one of 2 swimmers this season on Ouachita to have broken the minute barrier in the 100 breaststroke without a tech suit on. Ouellette finishing at Henderson in a 59 in 100 breaststroke, while Miles Schultz in a 57 at Henderson. And here we're going to the backstroke leg. This is where Noah Smith is going to shine. Noah Smith, a considerably fast backstroker, showing that here with just a 75 left of that. But you see Ouellette and Angel Medina in lanes 3 and 7, respectively, also holding 2nd and 3rd. Ouellette, he will tell anyone he does not like the backstroke event, but here Ouellette is holding very well in his backstroke, something he's really been practicing this season. And Medina over there, you see the strength behind each one of his pulls. Just showing the time and effort that he puts into building up the strength that he has. But Truman State lane 4, Ashton Bailey holding very close behind Ouellette going into the breaststroke leg here. This is going to be what tells the story for the event, because Ouellette and Angel Medina are very talented breaststrokers, but so is Ashton Bailey, who has gone a 57.5 in the 100 breaststroke, which is the fastest 100 breaststroke of any of the racers in this heat. And Bailey looks to be gaining on Ouellette, but Medina over in lane 7 looks to have just a bit more of a lead in second as he finishes just in front of Ouellette, a little bit more surprisingly in front of Ouellette than I thought. A little bit less in front of Ouellette than I thought it was. It's going to be interesting going into this final 100. Who wins out in the freestyle leg for second place, as Noah Smith is running away with this one. Off the pullout, it looks like Medina has a bit of a lead over Ouellette, but from my perspective, it could be less than I think. And Medina going into his turn at 3:19. He has 100 left to go. Just a second ahead of Ouellette. But going into this final leg, we'll see what happens. And here we go into just what looks just over 100 left at this flip turn. Medina looks to be gaining a bit of a lead over Ouellette, as Noah Smith looks like he's gonna finish in first. He's gonna finish, looks like he's just gonna finish just over 4 minutes in the 4 IM. And that is what he's going to do. And he's going to almost lap So on his way out. 4:09 for the senior captain, Noah Smith, as Medina looks like he's going to finish second. And can Ouellette claim third and go 1, 2, 3 in the event? Yes, he can. It goes Noah Smith first from Ouachita, second Angel Medina from Ouachita, and third the sophomore Justin Ouellette from Ouachita. The Tiger Sharks rolling into this event, they have only lost just one event, outscoring the Bulldogs in every event. Even the 200 freestyle, the one that they did not finish first in. And folks, with that, we'll be taking a bit of a break here. We'll be right back. So we'll be back here with more swimming action on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
No matter where you go in Arkansas, you'll probably run into someone you know. That personal connection is what I love about this state, and it's why we have offices and people across Arkansas. People who share your interest and care if you've been hurt.
A local team who will be on your side, by your side.
So if you were injured in an accident, call us at 1-800-CAR-WRECK.
No matter where you live in Arkansas, we have an office nearby.
We'll be on your side, by your side.
Captain Henderson House. We're a home to call your very own when you're away from yours, with a porch to end your night on, surrounded by friends, sharing stories and old times, and a yard with memories of summertime weddings and picnics after the game. We are so thankful for the life this house has seen for nearly 150 years. Come stay with us and join in on our stories. Captain Henderson House, Inn and Events.
I've heard people say Ouachita.
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 Is it pronounced Ouachita?
Searching for Ouachita Baptist University.
Back in Texas, everybody pronounces it Wichita, but really, it's Ouachita.
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 How would you pronounce it?
Ouachita.
Ouachita.
It's Ouachita Baptist University. Get it right.
It's Ouachita, people. It's Ouachita.
Ouachita.
Make Print Mania in downtown Arkadelphia your place to get embroidery, screen printing, trophies, and more. Drop by their store on Main Street in downtown Arkadelphia or visit their website at printmaniatees.com to see how they can help your business or group. Need a shirt for an event? Let Print Mania take care of that. Need promotional materials for your business or organization? You can let Print Mania take care of that too. A family-run local business in Arkadelphia, Print Mania has been serving the public since 1992. Call Print Mania today, 870-246-3803.
Visit the Ouachita campus store for all your Tiger apparel, merchandise, and gifts. If you need something to wear to show your Tiger pride, stop by the Ouachita campus store on the bottom floor of the Evans Student Center to grab a t-shirt, sweatshirt, polo, or more. If you can't stop by the store on campus, visit us online at bookstore.obu.edu. Make your purchase and we'll send it to you. Support the Tigers by checking out the Ouachita campus store. Go Tigers.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades.
we are an intentionally Christian university. We aren't going to apologize for that. But we're also going to challenge your students academically. We all know we learn more when we're challenged. This is also a place, though, where students are going to be invested in. I've spoken to so many alumni, and they come back again and again to telling me stories, naming names of faculty and staff members in specific situations where they invested in their lives, and they look back with the benefit of time and see how formative it was in their life. I think another reason is high impact learning. With the Christian liberal arts, you're going to get that broad experience, but we're also going to go deep. Some of the examples that come to mind is we have science students who spend their summer doing undergraduate research, and that is a gateway for graduate school. I think of some of our business students that we've given $1 million to of our endowment to manage real life experience. Or students who are interested in media and culture who go to the Sundance Film Festival, the premier event, to engage with people across the country in this discipline, but also to engage with Christians. But we're also going to be a place where you graduate. We're proud that in the state of Arkansas, among all colleges and universities, Ouachita has the highest graduation rate. You're going to finish on time. But you're not just going to graduate, you're going to be prepared for graduate school, for work. And so at Ouachita, we'll be a better university because of you. And I believe you'll be better because you were at Ouachita.
Law. Coming up next is the 3-meter diving event for the Ouachita Tiger Sharks. And here I am joined by former diver and swimmer for Ouachita, Lena Connard. Welcome.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
And so today Lena's going to help us, understand diving a little bit more and go into, what each dive is and things like that. As you see Abigail Connor diving off with a practice dive. Looks like we're just about to get started here. Just a couple more practice dives. So Lena, what is something that we need to know prior to diving that will, help us know how the scoring works and things like that?
Yeah. Okay. So for diving, it's scored out of 10 points. So 1 through 10. 10 being literally perfection and 1 being like you almost failed to dive. My best way of describing how you think it should go is if you watch a dive and you're like, ooh, then it's like a 3 or a 4. If you watch it and you're like, that was pretty decent, it's like a 5 or a 6. And if you watch it and you're like, man, that was really good, that's like 7 or 8. So they just have these little flip cards, and the coaches will sit there, they score it. Basically what we do is we take all of those numbers, we add them together, and then we multiply it by the degree of difficulty. So dives, depending on how hard they are, equals a degree of difficulty. So like an easier dive will be like in the 1s, 1.2. Harder ones get up to like 1.7, 2.2, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of how the scoring works. And then diving's kind of funny. They describe dives by numbers. So if it's like 101 or 301 or 401. So how we know that is if it starts with a 1, it's going to be a forward dive. So they're going to go forward off the board. If it's a 2, it's going to be a back dive. They're going to be going backwards or facing. If it's a 3, it'll be a reverse dive, and if it's a 4, it'll be an inward dive. And then if it's a 5 with lots of numbers, that means they're twisting. And then also we have letters to go with it, so A, B, C. So like A, B, C, and D. So C is gonna be tucked in a tucked position, so they're tucked up in a ball. B is gonna be in a pike position. Okay, C is going to be in C is in a tucked position, B is going to be in a piked position, A is open, so they're just completely flat, straight, and then D means it's like an option dive. Those are usually for twisters, so they don't really have a position specifically. So yeah, that's kind of just how the diving goes. This meet, we're going 3-meter first. Kind of excited. Usually it's 1 meter, so we get to watch the 3-meter first, and then 1 meter will be at the end.
That's really cool. I'm really excited to see this started off. And excuse us for the audio issues today. We're dealing with a little bit of those. But, for the divers today, for the women on the women's side, we'll be having Abigail Connard I think you might know her just a little
Just
bit.
a little bit. She might be my sister.
And then also Bella Howe for the women's side. And then on the men's side, Sam Goins, who we will be seeing in a swimming event later today, as well as sophomore Sam Goins, as well as 2 freshmen, Carson Powers and Gavin Richardson. Also, Abigail Conrad and Bella Howe are both sophomores themselves. As we will have just a couple more practice dives. It is a bit hard to tell how many practice dives they do.
It really depends on the meet. Like, if they're feeling really good, it'll only be like a few warm-up dives. If they're having a rough day, it ends up being a lot more. Today seems to be a lot more.
And the big story around this Ouachita diving team this season is the new coach. Last season was 25-year-old coach from that's dove at Auburn, Logan Andrews. He moved over to New Mexico, and today we now stand with Julia Day. Talk more about her and what her impact on this team has been.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing a great job. It was definitely a tough one to come into. We had Logan last year. He did an amazing job, so good that D1 had to take him. But he left, and we were kind of in a scramble trying to find a coach, and she came up as an option, and she's really worked really hard to come in and do the best that she can. It's really hard sometimes when you come in, you've had people who've had other coaches, so like that adjustment period, but she's really encouraging, always there for him, so I feel like it took some transitioning, but it's going really well now.
And then as for the divers on this team, as we still wait for them to finish practicing, what kind of improvement have we seen from them this season from where they started at? I know that, we have 2 talented freshmen already with Richardson and Powers, but what have you seen from them as far as improvement? And then also, Abigail and Bella on the women's side.
Yeah, so I'll start with the women's just because they're both sophomores, so they've been here a little longer. I knew both of them coming in. I did with them last year, and I can tell you they have made leaps and bounds from where they were starting freshman year. They've upgraded almost every one of their dives, either adding an extra flip, an extra twist. We're kind of middle of season right now. We just finished mid-season, so they're just now really starting to upgrade dives. A lot of times you'll start out your season, do a lot more of your easier dives, kind of take it simple, and then as time goes on and you get closer, you will start to upgrade. So we're starting to see some of those upgrades. A lot of the boys have added things like 107s, which that's a 3.5, one of the highest degrees of difficulty guys can to do. Both of them have started added back 2.5, so 205s. So this meet we're going to actually see quite a few more of their upgraded dives that they're just now starting. So this is the first time they're doing them in a meet. Might be a little iffy. It's just a first time through, but I'm excited to see them.
And one unique feature about Ouachita is it is only one of few D2 programs do have a full diving team, as Truman does not have a diving team today.
No.
But it is a very, very good point scorer as well. Helping Ouachita beat many very talented squads like Oklahoma Christensen and University of Missouri St. Louis. But let's talk more about how they've scored this season. Especially, I know that Delta meet was a bit rough on scoring, but how has that kind of motivated them?
Yeah, I feel like as the season goes, you kind of start out the season and it's kind of like you get your baseline, you figure out where you're sitting, how you're doing. You also kind of figure out judges, how they tend to score. Every judge scores a little differently. I feel like they've progressively gotten better. They've definitely stayed consistent. Your goal is to score at least 5s and 6s. That's kind of the goal. That's your middle ground. It's a good dive. There's improvements, but it's a good dive, and they're all hitting that. We did have at Delta a little bit of a struggle. It was new boards, new area for all of them, and so that can kind of be hard. Every board feels different, whether it's the top or how you're stepping on it, or even the bounciness of it. Every board is different. So.
And then one thing to watch during this event too that I feel like has been very encouraging for these divers is the swimmers have very, very much improved. I'd say they're cheering for the divers. I mean, obviously, me coming in as a swimmer last season, I didn't really understand diving. I know a lot of them don't really understand it a lot. But after every dive, you see them coming up and just cheer. You see the divers coming up and getting a round of applause. So what does that mean to a diver? Is that something that does it help? Does it hurt? How does that work?
It definitely helps. Coming in my freshman year, I was the one, we started up the program. They hadn't had diving in forever, so I kind of started up the program, and it definitely helped a lot knowing, like, even when you mess up, they were still like, you tried, like, it was good. So it's definitely nice to have people watching and cheering, though sometimes we laugh. A lot of times we'll, like, quiet for the dive. All of us kind of like a little chatter, because we feel like if it's quiet, then everyone's staring at you. So sometimes the swimmers will kind of talk amongst themselves, make just a little bit of chatter, and it's like the perfect way. It looks like we're getting ready. They're starting to talk. Yeah, I think we're getting close. Finally.
I'm very intrigued to see how Goins does today, especially because of all the talk about him gaining a lot more dives this season. He started off with barely enough dives to even be able to do this, but now he's gained some. I think he said he had a back 1.5 ready today.
I think so. Yeah, he was a swimmer. Bostic was like, "Hey, can you try diving?" And he's been so willing. He'll throw anything. So he's come a long ways. I don't know if he'll be on 3 meter today, but I do know he should be on 1 meter. So we'll get to see him later this afternoon, I believe.
Oh, you're right. He will not be on 3 meter. Excuse me about that. He will be doing 1 meter.
All right. Looks like we're getting ready. We're going to go in the order of Bella Howell, Abby O'Connor, Gavin Richardson, Carson Powers.
Perfect. And it looks like Howell is up here.
Going to start off with a front dive pike. There we go. God has some good height. You want to see, judges really look for the approach, how much height you're getting off, and then the entry. You want to try to be dead on. You don't want to be over or under. We'll be doing a front 1.5 pike.
If only we could see the scores. Unfortunately, we're a bit too far for that.
Yeah.
Here's Connor.
Very nice. Some divers will choose to do dives from the board. You just have to announce to judges that you are doing them from the board, and it's not a deduction at all. However, if you don't announce it, they can take points off, but it doesn't change anything. It's just kind of a personal preference for some.
What does from the board mean?
So instead of doing, as you can see, these other ones are doing this step approach. Some people just start from the end without any approach.
Okay.
Yeah. Very nice. He just recently upgraded that to the pike, I believe. He's normally done that in tuck position. Upgrading to a pike will usually add at least a 0.1% of difficulty. So.
And you see Richardson getting an 8 from the Truman coach over there.
That was good. It was very good.
And then you see Carson Powers up here. He is a freshman from Florida.
Yeah, long way.
Long way from home, but he's very talented off the board.
Very nice. Has some good height, a little over rotated, but overall, good dive. So that was our first round. They will be doing 6 rounds, so 6 different dives.
Now, I do know that they can go up to 11 dives at some meets,
yes.
Correct?
Yes, up until, so for especially conference will be an 11 dive list, and should they make NCAAs, it will also be an 11 dive list. But for these dual meets, we tend to stick to the 6 dive list so that it goes a little quicker. This will be the first dive tuck, I believe, yes. Oh, very nice. That's definitely one of the ones she had. She gets a little nervous on that one, but she does such a good job. You can see she was right up on top, pulled it under. Looked great. So this will be a full twisting 1.5. So 1.5 flips with a full twist. Oh, very nice. You see she gets all the way around on that twist. That's what you want to see. You want to see them fully get through the twist before they square out and go into that water. If you don't go through the full twist, they can call it a no dive because you did not complete the number of twists that you are required. I believe this is also a new dive for him, or he's done it before, but new to this season. This is a back 2.5 tuck.
And Richardson, hailing from the Dallas area, is friends with last season successful diver Sam Woods. Woods took a bit of a semester off, but he looks to be back for the second semester for the Ouachita Tigers.
I believe that was an inward. I guess I had that written wrong. I was an inward 2.5 tuck. My bad. Had it written wrong on the list.
And you see that I see the tape on Richardson. Is there any inside scoop on is there an injury possible?
A little bit. He did have his knees kind of buckled on the board earlier in this week, so kind of taking a little slower with that knee, but it seems to be doing all right. He took some days off. So. That would be a 3.5. Again, a newer one he's throwing off that board. He hasn't done that in competition yet. You can see he was a little bit short, but again, first time in competition, you kind of get a little nervous.
And did he complete the dive there? Or?
He did complete. As long as your hands touch the water before your feet, it is still considered completed. It won't score as well, but it still will be allowed.
Here's Hal back up at the top.
This will be an inward dive pike. Very nice entry there. You see there was hardly any splash on that entry, just the bubbles. That's exactly what you want.
And this is round 3, I believe. And Bella Howell starting off, and then here we go, Conrad up second.
This will be a back dive tuck. These back dives are more simple. You really want to see him set up, hit the tuck, and then you want to see a nice kick out. So that's where they squeeze all the way straight. Overall, pretty good. She had a nice set, nice tuck. Could have been a little tighter on the kick out, but still a very good dive. A lot of times you'll see divers do them in a similar order. So you're seeing right now that almost all of them have done a back dive. It just it's a preference, but a lot of divers tend to go in a very similar order with fronts and twisters and then backs. See right there, that really nice kick out where he just extends, you see the position, and then he hits the water. That's what you want to see.
And so what I see a lot with his scoring is they do tend to get rewarded for diving closer to the board. I know that is a bit, I know that you've dealt with your fair share of, injuries with that. Yes. So how do you keep your nerves settled for this?
Yeah, so the goal is you want to be about 1.5 feet, 2 feet from the board. You get too close and they can take points off, but if you're too far, that shows that you didn't use that board. A lot of it is just core strength, staying super tight, and it will keep you where you want to be. That right there was a back 2.5. A newer dive again for him. He's been doing it in practice, but it can be a little scary. You get a little lost going backwards trying to find that spot. So a lot of times divers will do what we call spotting. So they'll either look for the wall or the board or something and know when to kick out.
And one thing I always see from Carson Powers when I see him is he's not afraid to just send it on any dive. He will always, he's not afraid to belly flop, as you can see. And every time I see him belly flop, he said that he will just be like, oh, it didn't hurt.
Oh yeah, he's the one that will throw anything. You ask him to do something in practice, he's gonna do it, without a question. There we go, very nice. A little push back off the board, but the entry was beautiful.
And just a quick update for the scorers on that side. You see on the far right, from right to left, Coach Stephen Bostic, head swimming coach. In the middle is Coach Julia Day, and then on the left is a Truman coach. So three coaches, one from the other team.
Yes, we try to always have at least 2 or 3 coaches. Eventually, when you get up to higher meets, you will do 5. So you will drop the highest and lowest score and take an average of the other 3. That right there was a back 1.5 half. Overall, good dive.
Here's Richardson up for his 4th dive.
And the first dive tuck. Go overall good dive. Kicked out a little late, so you can see that kind of let him fling over. You want to kick out a little more early, keep that hollow position, and then press into the water. But still, good height, good dive. This will be a reverse 1.5 tuck from Carson.
One thing you see from these divers is just incredible vertical, because they have to be able to get off the wall, off the board very, very fast and very, very high.
Oh yes, a lot of it is in not just. Oh, that was beautiful. You can see he kicked out, he was able to spot, and then hit that water.
And Carson Powers, one of the taller divers that we've seen.
Oh yeah.
It's so very impressive how he can get his body around like that and manage how the length that he has there in almost a perfect way.
Yeah, it definitely gets a little harder, I think, when you're taller, but he does a great job. But yes, with that board, a lot of times what you want to do is you want to push it down as hard as you can and then let the board do the work. So really, you want to stay on that board as long as you can, and then that's what's going to lift you up. Nice, front 1.5 pike, Bella. This is round 5 for diving. Reverse dive tuck. She will be doing again this one from the end of the board, so instead of that approach, you're just going to start from the end. Set up. Very nice. Good job.
Will we be able to get the scores now, or will that be something that we'll have to announce at the end of the meet?
We might have to wait. We'll see. They have to put it into the computer, and it'll total up the scores for us.
Okay.
Inward.
Just so you guys know, Lena is just looking at a page of numbers right now, and she just has all of these dives memorized off the top of her head.
Yes.
So
it takes a while, but yeah, a lot of times you will learn those numbers real quick, and then coaches just tend to refer to them as you're on the board. They're like, okay, go do 105, and you're like, okay. So you have to so the first number refers to the position, so front, back, inward, reverse, or twister, and then the last number refers to number of how many half twists. So a 101 would mean a inward dive pike, so half a twist. A 102, or sorry, not twist, flip. 102, full flip, etc.
All right.
Very nice. That was a inward dive 2.5 right there.
And here we go into the final round, as I believe. This is where usually the divers pull out all the stops?
Sometimes they'll put their hardest dive at the end, or a lot of them will put their least favorite dive at the end.
Oh, okay.
So that they can they don't have to, they'll just get it done. Some divers, they like their least favorite dive at the end. Others like it at the beginning, so they get it out of the way, and then they just don't have to think about it. A lot of times you'll see twisters here at the end, which is what we're about to see. So this will be a back dive half twist. Very nice. Yeah, a lot of times divers will tend to do their twisters or their bigger twister here at the end, or some will even finish on their best dive. Just really depends on the diver and their personal preference.
And you see Connor going up for her final dive. Connor actually has the 1 meter diving record for Ouachita.
She does,
overall.
yes.
So we'll get to see her in her element, basically in her element here, coming up towards the end of the meet in the 1 meter.
Yeah, she got that in San Antonio during that meet. The records are for 11 dive meets, so we cannot get records off of a 6 dive score, but anytime they go, she's hoping to break that here at conference coming up.
And then here are the boys, both Gavin and Carson, up for their final 2 dives. Gavin is up first for his final one. You said, what is the dive here?
This one will be a back 1.5 half, so 1.5 flips and a half twist. So for this one, you set up, do the twist, and then around. Very nice. You want to see that set before the twist over, and then finish the flip. Carson will be doing the same dive, back 1.5 half twist. So that would be a 52-31D for the numbers. So many numbers. You can see divers will wait for the person to announce. You look at judges, nod that they're ready, Let me get going. There you go. That was definitely one of his harder ones, just due to his height. It makes it a little bit harder to get around, but good dive. All right, that'll conclude 3-meter diving for us. They're going to switch back to pool, and we'll be ready to go for swimming.
All right, folks, and that is the end of the 3-meter diving segment. We are going to take a bit of a break here. Thank you, Lena, so much for joining us on the diving part.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll be back with more swimming action later on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law.
Whether you realize it or not, you see the work of bats and signs all around Arkadelphia. When you see the Badger equipment trailer on the way to a Badger game, bats and signs did that. When you're watching the Badgers, Tigers, or Reddies and see the signage that just really makes their facilities pop, bats and signs did that too. You see the signage in downtown Arkadelphia on the campuses of Ouachita and Henderson, or the sign in your neighbor's yard supporting a candidate or their favorite Badger? Yep, bats and sign did that too. Longtime residents and supporters of all things Arkadelphia called Mark, Jared, Chris, or Ryan at Bats and Signs today to see what they can do for you.
At Berry and Turnage, we specialize in bringing the law to your corner. We are dedicated to understanding what results you want and to helping you understand what actions we can take on your behalf. With over 30 years of experience and a proven track record of success, Berry and Turnage is here to lead you down a path to the results you need. We will work with you every step of the way to make sure that you understand the choices you are making and feel empowered to make them. Berry and Turnage. Serious injuries require...
No matter where you go in Arkansas, you'll probably run into someone you know. That personal connection is what I love about this state, and it's why we have offices and people across Arkansas. People who share your interest and care if you've been hurt.
A local team who will be on your side, by your side.
So if you were injured in an accident, call us at 1-800-CAR-WRECK.
No matter where you live in Arkansas, we have an office nearby.
We'll be on your side, by your side.
Captain Henderson House. We're a home to call your very own when you're away from yours, with a porch to end your night on, surrounded by friends, sharing stories and old times, and a yard with memories of summertime weddings and picnics after the game. We are so thankful for the life this house has seen for nearly 150 years. Come stay with us and join in on our stories. Captain Henderson House, Inn and Events.
I've heard people say Ouachita.
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 Is it pronounced Ouachita?
Searching for Ouachita Baptist University.
Back in Texas, everybody pronounces it Wichita, but really, it's Ouachita.
Ouachita. Ouachita.
How would you pronounce it?
Ouachita.
Ouachita.
It's Ouachita Baptist University. Get it right.
It's Ouachita, people. It's Ouachita.
Ouachita.
Make Print Mania in downtown Arkadelphia your place to get embroidery, screen printing, trophies, and more. Drop by their store on Main Street in downtown Arkadelphia or visit their website at printmaniatees.com to see how they can help your business or group. Need a shirt for an event? Let Print Mania take care of that. Need promotional materials for your business or organization? You can let Print Mania take care of that too. A family-run local business in Arkadelphia, Print Mania has been serving the public since 1992. Call Print Mania today, 870-246-3803.
Visit the Ouachita campus store for all your Tiger apparel, merchandise, and gifts. If you need something to wear to show your Tiger pride, stop by the Ouachita campus store on the bottom floor of the Evans Student Center to grab a t-shirt, sweatshirt, polo, or more. If you can't stop by the store on campus, visit us online at bookstore.obu.edu. Make your purchase and we'll send it to you. Support the Tigers by checking out the Ouachita campus store. Go Tigers.
Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law. And we're back here with more swimming action live from Wagoner Pool. Up first, after the 3-meter diving event break, we will have the women's 200-yard butterfly, followed right after by the men's event. And so far in this meet, we've seen some dominance. I might even say by the Ouachita Tiger Sharks. You know, in the men's event, all but one event so far in swimming has been a men's 1-2-3 win, meaning that they have won first, second, and third in every single event so far, but the 200 freestyle, in which in that event they went 1-2, or they went 2-3. So so far the score updates: the men's team is leading Truman. The men's Ouachita Baptist team is leading Truman 68-22, and on the women's side, the women have just a very narrow lead of 48-44 lead. And then looking at the combined scores, it is not even close. Ouachita up 116-66, heading into the middle stretch of this meet here. And so looking into what's going to be a pretty interesting 200 butterfly race, as you can see right now, swimmers still warming back up after the diving break. We're going to see freshman phenom Anna Phelps back at it again, but also another swimmer that you need to watch over in lane 3 for Ouachita is going to be Rachel Del Angel. Like I was talking about earlier, she has the most tenacity out of any. In my opinion, she has the most tenacity out of just about any swimmer on this women's team. She does not like to lose races, as you can see with many of her races where she has come back from very, very big deficits, and she came in as a 200 butterflyer in the first place. She's now been repurposed to being a little bit more of a sprinter, but the 200 butterfly has been one of Rachel's main events for a long time, and so I can only expect her to be just a little bit excited to be able to swim this again. And then also for the Ouachita Tiger Sharks, Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks, lane 7 is going to be Tiffany Nordstrom, the freshman. She has been doing a lot of backstroke this season, but this meet has been, picked up a little bit of breaststroke. So we're excited to see her swim that. As for Truman State in this event, lane 4, Sydney Durbin, she has the fastest time this season for the Lady Bulldogs, in the 200 butterfly with a 2:09.71 just a couple weeks ago. And then Peyton Wells, the freshman, has a no time so far in this 200 butterfly, but will also be swimming it for the Lady Bulldogs. So, and then going into the men's event for the 200 butterfly, which will be following just after the women's 200 fly, it's going to be 2 heats. We're going to be seeing heat 1 with Ethan Smith from Ouachita, Sam Goins from Ouachita, and Blaze Hood from Ouachita. 3 Ouachita swimmers in heat 1, showing again their depth. But then in heat 2, it's going to be all Elijah Christensen. Elijah Christensen with the fastest seat time by a long shot with a 1:48 in the 2 fly just a couple weeks ago at the OC Eagles invite for the Ouachita Tigers. But then also senior captain Noah Smith and junior Rafael Bastillo is also swimming it for Ouachita. In lane 3 and lane 5 in heat 2 of the 200 men's butterfly will be 2 Truman swimmers with Aiden Moore and Miles McIntyre. Now, one thing to watch for this event is that the 200 butterfly is a very long event. Butterfly is typically known as one of the more tiring events, as you will come to see here. And so 200 butterfly takes an iron will to swim, and you're going to watch Phelps and Del Angel swim it here. And Phelps herself is a swimmer that, like I said, is a swimmer that's willing to get in and do the dirty work. She's typically been in the races that nobody really likes to do. Earlier this season, she was a 1,000-mile distance swimmer. While she didn't do the 1,000 today, she has done the 400 on him, which is not the favorite of many swimmers. So we're excited to see her today swim that. So just a couple more minutes here of warming up. As you can see, we're still on a bit of a break, and we will see this 200 butterfly coming up. But as for what is coming up in this event, after the 200 butterfly, we'll have the men's and women's 100-yard freestyle. After that, the men's and women's 200-yard backstroke, 200-yard backstroke, and then the men's and women's 500-yard freestyle. And then we'll take another break there and have diving. And then from there, after the 1-meter diving events, we'll finish off the meet with the men's and women's 200-yard breaststroke and the men's and women's 400-yard freestyle relay. So we still got a lot more swimming action for you guys to go. So stay right where you are, as we will be having, the 200 butterfly is just to come in just a couple minutes as you see swimmers start to gather around the end of the lanes, maybe starting to end a break. And so here, we're going to send it to a quick break. We will be right back. We will be right back here with the 200-yard butterfly here on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Warm-ups, warm back up again, and we are just about to start the women's 200-yard butterfly. As I said, in lane 3 is going to be Rachel Del Angel. In lane 4 for Truman State is going to be Sydney Durbin. In lane 5, Anna Phelps, freshman phenom. In lane 6, Peyton Wells, and in lane 7, freshman Tiffany Nordstrom. Also, Rachel Del Angel is a freshman here, or not a freshman, excuse me. She is a sophomore. And we're just about ready to go here with the 200 butterfly. You can expect lots of swimmers to be a bit nervous for this event. As I said, it is a kind of hulking event, but it takes a lot of will to swim this event. But the swimmers up here are ready and willing to swim what is going to be a very fun and exciting event here. As the whistle blows, here we go as the swimmers stand up on the block. And we're off again. Here we go. And Phelps is going to come out to a very quick starting lead into the first turn. Following right behind her, though, is going to be Durbin. Folks, you're going to expect Phelps to take a bit of not completely relinquish or to completely take the lead until the end because of her immense endurance. She can keep it. She will be able to keep it. Durbin holding close, but Rachel Del Angel very close behind in lane 3 and going into the 75 mark. Phelps taking herself an even more staggering lead into first. And at the just under the halfway point, Phelps is going to finish at the 100 mark at 1:00:73, and Del Angel is going to finish just 0.04 of a second ahead of Durbin from Truman. So Ouachita 1-2 so far. Over in lane 7, also Nordstrom, the freshman, holding pretty close, impressively close behind Durbin. And as you can see, this is the part of the race that makes the champions. The last 50 of the 200 butterfly is a drag, but these swimmers here are showing immense endurance and strength. Phelps going into her final 50 here with a considerable lead as Nordstrom turns into her final 50. It is Phelps, Del Angel, and Durbin going to this final lap. Del Angel turns at the final 25 ahead of Durbin as Phelps leads the race. She is going to run away with this one. Can Del Angel finish in second? It's Del Angel versus Durbin going into the final stretch. Who's going to get second here? And it's going to be Del Angel finishing barely ahead of Durbin, 0.18 ahead. And Ouachita goes 1-2 here in the women's 200-yard butterfly. Here we go. Nordstrom going to finish in 4th. And then in 5th for Truman State, it's going to be Peyton Wells, the freshman for the Lady Bulldogs. Up next is going to be Heat 1 of the 200-yard butterfly. In lane 5, sophomore Ethan Smith. Lane 6, sophomore Sam Goins, who we'll see later in the 1-meter diving event. And lane 7, sophomore Blaze Hood. And they're off. If y'all are wondering why all the swimmers are wearing really cool or, awkward color-looking swimsuits, that is because they're all wearing tech suits today. And, a suit that typically makes a swimmer faster. It's different from wearing just a typical Speedo because it's made of a different material that moves through water. It is water resistant, so it helps swimmers move through water faster. And going into the first 50, Smith is going to have a little bit of a lead on Goins and Hood here. All three swimmers here, Smith, Goins, and Hood, all pretty good all pretty good butterflyers. Hood, typically you see him in the 100 fly, but here he is in the 200 butterfly. Ethan Smith typically is an IMer, but he can also swim distance events of just about any stroke. And then Goins is a very talented butterflyer. You see him in butterfly, but also sprint events as well for freestyle. And at the 100 mark, all three are under a minute. Ethan Smith at 58.1, Goins at 58.8, and Hood at 59.5. And here we go into the final 50 here. Smith is going to be in first, Goins right behind him, and Hood right behind Goins. It is a very tight race going into this final 50, but Goins is pushing a little bit on Smith, who is going to finish at this with 125 left. Who is going to finish the wall first? Smith barely with a little bit of a lead on Goins going into the final stretch. Can Goins come back and win this? Goins amazing underwater there. It looks like he's neck and neck with Smith. Who is going to finish first? Is it going to be Goins or Smith? Smith with a little bit of an advantage, and it's Ethan Smith winning by 0.7. Goins right behind him in second at 2:01.86, and in third in lane 7, Blaze Hood with the 2:04.6. Up next is Heat 2. In lane 3 is Aiden Moore from Truman. Lane 4, Elijah Christensen, senior from Ouachita. Lane 5, Miles McIntyre from Truman. Lane 6, Noah Smith from Ouachita. And lane 7, Rafael Bastillo from Ouachita. Folks, keep your eyes on Elijah Christensen right here. Christensen is one of the most talented butterflyers in the nation, and last season was one of 2 national qualifiers for this Tiger Shark team, winning the conference in both the 200 butterfly. And if you look up at the record board for Ouachita, yes, he holds the 200 butterfly team record with a 147.66. This season went a 148.8 just a couple weeks ago. And here he is back at it again, hoping for a sub-150 time yet again in the 200 butterfly, and he looks on pace for it right now. It is Christensen in first, and then in lane 5, it is McIntyre following, I wouldn't say close, but following behind him. And there it is, Christensen at 53.3. So for him to finish under 150, he has to come back. For him to finish under 150, he has to come back in faster than a 57. Can he do that here? Christensen known for his incredible underwaters. And then the race for second is getting a bit tighter with Noah Smith taking second place over McIntyre. Noah Smith in lane 6, McIntyre in lane 5. Christensen into the final stretch. He's got to take his 50. He's got to take his 50 at under 28 for him to finish under 150 today. Will he do it? He's got 10 seconds. Can he do it? Can Christensen finish under 150 after what has been a very hard week of training for the Tiger Sharks? And it looks like he's just going to barely miss it. 151.5 for Christensen, which is an incredible time after Thanksgiving break. Noah Smith, a 158.1 in second and third. McIntyre for Truman State in lane 5. Looks like a soft touch there. And then fourth in lane 7 is going to be Ralph Bastillo, and then fifth is going to be in lane 3, Aiden Moore for Truman. And excuse us for a minute. Our camera is about to die, but I will still remain with you guys on the mic. Now, while the camera might go dark, I will not, as I will be on for you guys, as we're suffering through a little bit of a break here in the action. But I will still be here on the mic for you guys. Up next is the women's 100 freestyle. We have Heat 1, which is, I do not know who that is. Unfortunately, there is. I was only led to believe that there was one heat here. Bit of technical difficulties here, which does give us enough time to get our camera back up. All right, guys, and I assume the camera is back up. Thank you guys for bearing with us here as we go through a little bit of a lull in the action. They are testing out timing systems, a little bit of technical difficulties here. But coming up first, it looks like we will have one heat of the 100, one person heat of the 100-yard freestyle. This is a Truman swimmer. I'm not quite sure who that is. But nonetheless, here we go. Heat 1 with one swimmer in it. Oh, excuse me, she's swimming breaststroke. Okay, then it looks to me like this will be a time trial for the 100 breaststroke, because since there is no 100 breaststroke at this meet, she's probably trying to get a 100 breaststroke time for a certain national qualifying event, which in this case, it could be Chloe Myers here. And at the 50, she's a 31:03, which could put her on pace for a best time, with her best time being a 1:05.17, if it is Chloe Myers as I believe it to be. And at the turn, it's 48. Can she get there under 1:05 here? 10 seconds away. And she's going to finish 1:06.4, just off her best time, but an impressive time nonetheless. And here we go now. The main sprint event of the day, other than the 50 freestyle, is going to be the 100 freestyle. In lane 3 from Truman, Ella Thompson. In lane 4 from Ouachita, Aaron Russo. In lane 5, Emily Traub from Truman. Lane 6, Edie Christensen from Ouachita. Lane 7, Jamia Harley from Truman. And in lane 8, Sophie Derby from Ouachita. This event is going to be interesting to watch because Traub, like I said, has a B cut in this event, went a 50.89 last time out in the 100 freestyle, which is very, very considerably off of any time that we see on this heat sheet, as Dee Christensen following behind with a 52.1. Traub with her 50.89 would be fast enough to almost win the first heat of the men's event with this time, as Traub goes into the final 25. Can she do it again? Christensen following close behind with Russo also in third. Traub is going to finish in a 52.2. Christensen 53.8, and Russo in lane 4 finishes third with a 54.2. And then following behind her is going to be in lane 7. Lane 7, it's going to be Jamia Harley in fourth. Up next is Heat 1 of the boys 100 freestyle. Lane 3 is going to be Tristan Richard. bit of timing difficulties, but in lane 3 is Tristan Richard. Lane 4, Jacob Lewis. Lane 5, Jackson McCallis from Truman State. And then in lane 7, Miles Schultz from Ouachita. And here we go. They are off. Miles Schultz looks to be doing breaststroke. And, I mean, that's understandable because he wants to get a pool record here in the 100 breaststroke. He has yet to break the pool record, but a time faster than a 56.4 will get him the pool record here at Wagoner Pool. And then in the freestyle event, it looks like Richard has himself a lead over Lewis and McCallis into the final turn. Can Richard come away with a win over Lewis here? Into the final stretch, Lewis looks like he's catching up a little bit. And right here into the flags, both going purple. And Richard finishes 0.2 of a second faster, 49.6, while Lewis close behind. And then over in lane 7, that is a new Wagoner Pool record for Miles Schultz in the 100-yard breaststroke. Impressive day for Miles Schultz after, a impressive time in the relay. And then there you go, 100 breaststroke pool record here. Up next, we have heat 2 of the men's 100-yard freestyle. Lane 3, Cameron Lee for Truman. Lane 4, James Chavarese for Ouachita. Lane 5, A.J. Kohler from Truman. Lane 6, Ian Redmond for Ouachita. Lane 7, Gavin Bergman for Truman. And in lane 8, Chad Gescheidel for Ouachita. Kohler is again the swimmer to watch here. He is a very talented sprinter, but another guy to watch is going to be James Chavarese, and 2 other guys to watch are going to be James Chavarese and Ian Redmond. Redmond finishing just behind sprinting specialist Sam Redmond at midseason, and looks to be just behind Kohler here. Excuse me, no, Chavarese is just behind Kohler. Going into the final stretch, Kohler is going to win it for Truman. And then in lane 4, Chavarese finishes under 47 with a 46.99 in second. And then Ian Redmond looks to be noticeably absent today. Excuse me for that. Up next is the women's 200-yard backstroke. In lane 3 is Kylie Strobel from Truman. Lane 4, Jamison Tankersley for Ouachita. Lane 5, Emma Harris from Truman. Lane 6, Keely Holcomb from Ouachita. Lane 7, Natalie Nagayan from Truman. And lane 8, Abigail McMahon from Ouachita. Again, the swimmer to watch is going to be Keely Holcomb. Holcomb, winning the 200 freestyle earlier, is back at it again in this backstroke. Keely Holcomb, just a talented swimmer in general. There's no off event for her. Has shown her backstroke prowess this season. Not typically known as a backstroker, but she is good. She is very good at it when she does swim it. And at the 50 turn, she has herself just a bit of a lead, going out in the 30.3. And then at the 75, Tankersley looks to be catching up a little bit on Holcomb. Can Tankersley come back in this race? Also keep in mind, Emma Harris, also a very fast swimmer in this race. And it is close. It is in first barely by 0.1 is Keely Holcomb. In second is Emma Harris for Truman. And in third is Jamison Tankersley behind by just 1/10 of a second. The split between first and third is just a little over 2/10 of a second here going into this final 100. Harris looks to be gaining a little bit on Holcomb. Going into this final turn, this final 50 here, Holcomb has just a 200th lead in lane 6. And then in lane 4, Jamison Tankersley less than a second behind both of them. Also in lane 7, Nagayan, I believe, is also holding very closely with Tankersley for the third place spot. Can Holcomb hold first though going into this final 25? The final stretch here, can Holcomb do it? Harris picking up her stroke count a little bit. It looks like Harris is just going to barely eke out a win here over Holcomb. That is less than a tenth of a second split between the two swimmers here, as Emma Harris for Truman State is going to come out with the win. Holcomb in second with a 2:09.0, and then in third, Nagayan from Truman with a 2:10.08. Up next is the men's 100 backstroke heat 1. In lane 4, it's going to be Jack Stevens for Ouachita. Lane 5, Reed Latal from Truman. Lane 6, Bennett Bibza from Ouachita. And in lane 7, David Pennell from Ouachita, the freshman. And they're off, folks. One swimmer you're going to need to watch is going to be Bennett Bibza. He's going to take this race out incredibly fast, but he can bring it home just as well. Bibza prides himself on his backstroke, and for good reason, as he comes out considerably faster than the crowds here. 2 seconds, almost 2 seconds faster than Pennell here, who is in second. David Pennell, normally known as a distance swimmer, coming out with backstroke. A very impressive time here. And going into the second 100 at this turn here, Bibza out in a 56.3. Incredible time for Bibza, whose season best so far in the 200 backstroke is a 158.2. Can he come back faster than a 102 to break his season best here? And Bibza, going into his final lap here, has a considerable lead over the crowd. Sorry about that. And going into the final 25, Bibza just 10 seconds away. Excuse me, just now 10 seconds away. And it looks like he's going to beat his season best of a 158. Going a 157.6 in the 200 backstroke. Bennett Bibza wins the heat. And in second, David Pennell, the freshman, goes at 2:02 in the 200 backstroke. And in third, Stevens is going to barely inch out the win. Maybe, we don't know yet, because over in lane 5, looks like Latal had a bit of a soft touch there. Up next is the final heat and the fastest of the 200 backstroke. In lane 3, Ethan Sparks. Lane 4, Evan Grinter in lane 3, Ethan Sparks from Ouachita, excuse me. Lane 4, Evan Grinter from Truman. Lane 5, Jeff McCoy from Ouachita. Lane 6, Alex Burkhart from Truman. Lane 7, David Ware from Ouachita. And in lane 8, Drake Durbin from Truman. Looks like they are replacing the pad there after Latal's touch was not tracked. They're going to replace it with a better pad that will track times better. So before we start this heat, let's talk a little bit about these swimmers here. You know, Ethan Sparks is a freshman with a 155 in the 200 backstroke, but then also you have Jeff McCoy and David Ware in this heat. Jeff McCoy, a 149.1, only 3 seconds off a team record. And in the 200 backstroke, very, very close. Looks to be only a second off what is a pool record in the 200 backstroke. So very interesting. We're all very interested to see if McCoy can take a second off here and possibly get himself a pool record. On top of that, Sparks himself has had some pretty impressive times in the backstroke, along with Ware, who is just at this point good at just about any stroke. He typically does IM, but also is a very good sprint freestyler and butterflyer. Now they are testing this new touchpad to see if it works. Bit of technical difficulties on the timing side today, but we will stay here during this little break. And there you see McCoy in lane 5 in the bright orange tech suit. McCoy has put out some very impressive times this season for his senior year after missing most of last season and conference from last season with mono. Here we go, starting 200 backstroke. And one thing to watch in this race is what swimmers will go out fast and die, or sorry, excuse me, not what swimmers will go out fast and get tired towards the end, or what swimmers will keep it a little slow towards the beginning and go out fast and go fast towards the end. Because there are two strategies in this 200 backstroke event, and it is where I'm interested to see if there are any, which ones will be given out today. McCoy holding very closely with lane 6, Alex Burkhart from Truman, not yet pulled away. Burkhart's best time this season is a 1:53. McCoy's is 4 seconds faster, 1:49. McCoy has had a bit of a rough week dealing with sickness this week after a long Thanksgiving break. But nonetheless, he still leads at the 100 mark of this 200 backstroke, going out to 56.01. Very impressive for McCoy. And then right behind McCoy and Burkhart in third place is lane 3, Ethan Sparks. On the heat sheet here, he's known as Sparky Sparks. But here we go, Jeff McCoy going into this, about to turn into this final 50, considerably ahead of Burkhart. He has not skipped a beat since midseason, almost 2 seconds ahead as he goes into the final 25, as he goes into the final almost 25 of this race. And at the flip, here is McCoy ahead of Burkhart. Smith, and then over there you have over there Ethan Sparks looks to be giving up a bit of a lead to lane 4, Evan Grinter, but David Ware coming back with a vengeance in lane 7. Can he beat Grinter? Cannot, but he's going to get 4th. So it goes McCoy in first, the Burkhart second, Grinter third, David Ware 4th, and Ethan Sparks finishes in 5th with a time of 2:00. And you know, that very impressive swim for Jeff McCoy. Unfortunately, we cannot see his time today because of the soft touch that has just happened. But it seemed to be, you know, very impressive. We have not a bit of scoreboard issues right now, unfortunately. Unfortunately they're dealing with a bit of scoreboard issues. But the meet must go on. Here next is our next distance event, the women's 500-yard freestyle, which is half as long as the 1,000, which can bring a little bit of drama, especially when you bring in that it's not just Kate McCown this time. She has She has two running mates with her. In lane 6 is going to be Elise Henderson for Ouachita, and in lane 8 is going to be Kaylee Sticka for Ouachita. But also for Truman, lane 3 is Abby Bobble. Lane 5, Meg Heverow, the winner of the women's 1,000 earlier. And in lane 7, Taylor Graham from Truman. Heverow, one of the few women swimmers in the nation to have broken 5 minutes in the 500 freestyle this season. That is a B cut for her. Now, after gaining a B cut in the 1,000 earlier today, she now looks to gain it again. She now looks to uphold her B cut in the 500. And going out, it is all Meg Heverow in the 500-yard freestyle. After the first 50 of what is a long race, it is Heverow in first. In second is also Truman with Taylor Graham. Heverow swimming with a vengeance today. Looking very close, or looking like she wants to break the pool record. And if she can go close to her best time, she will do that. The pool record is just a couple years old at this point, but the pool record is just a couple years old at this point. but Heverow looks to beat it once again here in the 500-yard freestyle. And here we are going into, this will be the 150 mark of the 500. Just a little over a quarter the way there. Heverow has a very strong lead. Taylor for Truman in second place. And then in third place, it looks to be a fight between lane 3, Abby Bombo, lane 4, Kate McCown, and lane 6, Elise Henderson. Moving up here is going to be vital for the Lady Tiger Sharks if they want to keep this lead. Going into lap 9 here, just under halfway in this 500-yard freestyle. Heverow looks to be just under pace here. If she can keep it going, she might be able to break it. Finishes at 2:29.5, which is just under the pace that she needs to break 5 minutes again. She's got to come back in that exact same time, though. We'll see if she can do that. She's got to pick it up. She might have to pick up the pace just a little bit. And Heverow still in the lead at the 550 mark now. And then fighting for third place still is going to be Kate McCown and Elise Henderson with lane 3 Bomble. But holding second is Taylor over in lane 6. And over in lane 8 is Kaylee Sticko, the freshman. You see Henderson pulling a little bit further away for that third place spot. McCown still fighting with Bomble over in lane 4. And here we go, just a minute away. Can she get it? Can Heverow possibly break a pool record here for the Lady Bulldogs? Elise Henderson fighting for that spot over in lane 6, fighting for a second place spot with Taylor. Can she possibly catch up and get her team a silver medal? And McCown still fighting with Bomble, but pulling away just a little bit for that fourth place spot. Heverow going into her final lap. She's got less than 30 seconds to finish it. Can she do it? Into the turn. She's got about 15 at the turn. Make it 14 at the turn. 10 seconds now. Can she get here? Can she get there? Heverow into the turn, into the finish. Can she do it? And she's barely going to miss it at a 5:01.00, but that still is a pool record, a new Wagner pool record set by Meg Heverow of the Truman State Lady Bulldogs. And in second is going to be Taylor Graham, and in lane 6, Elise Henderson is going to finish in third with the bronze medal, and Kate McCown going to finish fourth for the Lady Tiger Sharks. What an impressive outing for Heverow, winning both distance events for the Lady Bulldogs and breaking a pool record in one of them, possibly two. But from here, I'm too far to see what the 1,000 record is. Just an impressive day for Heverow and an impressive day for the Truman Lady squad, who after that event could be approaching the Lady Tiger Sharks. who led by 5 going into this event. And here's the men's event here of the 500-yard freestyle. In lane 3, freshman Jack Hoyen from Ouachita. Lane 4, Colin Wolfmeyer from Truman. Lane 5, sophomore from Ouachita, Tyler Andrus. Lane 6, Peyton Sewell from Truman. And lane 7, freshman from Ouachita, Colton Martinez. One got to watch, November NSISC Swimmer of the Month, Tyler Andrus. After winning, he won Swimmer of the Month after a very impressive month in October, where he won every single distance event, almost every single distance event at every dual meet that they went to. And at the 75 mark, it is Andrus and everyone else. Tyler Andrus absolutely running away with this. And update on the women's scores after that 500 event. Truman State takes a 4-point lead over Ouachita, meaning that the Lady Tiger Sharks must gain back those points in the diving and 200 breaststroke events coming up just after this. And going into the 150, Tyler Andrus absolutely destroying the competition, with Colton Martinez coming in at second over in lane 7. And Andrus heading into his 200. Andrus, now while he may not get a team record today, I would be very sure, looking at that pool record of a 4:36. Well, obviously it is a very old pool record. It has not been broken since 1983. But if anyone were to break it, Tyler Andrus has his eyes on it. In a tech suit, Andrus very well has a chance to do that. And going into the 250 at the halfway point, Tyler Andrus is at a 2:17.8. And in second at the halfway point is going to be Colton Martinez, just slightly ahead in second over lane 6 and lane 4 for Truman. Here we go, Andrus into the 300 here. Just 200 yards left to go. That is 8 lengths. That is 4 laps left for Tyler Andrus in this race. And that much time left to break a pool record here at Waggoner Pool. Andrus, an impressive showing earlier, second in the 200-yard freestyle. Now back at it again in the distance 500-yard freestyle. And at the 350 mark, he's at 3:14.1. Just 150 left to go in this race. And just under a minute 10 to go for him to break this record. Now Andrus has to come back in a 53 or faster if he wants to break this pool record. Now that's going to be really quick, but he can do it. He's done it before. I'm sure that Andrus can do it. And for a second, it looks like over in lane 6. Peyton Sewell taking a bit of an advantage over Martinez, but now Martinez has it back. Into his final 50, Andrus has 26 seconds, 25 seconds. 24 seconds, can he do it? Andrus into the final stretch, going into his final turn here. He's got 10 seconds, can he get here? Can he get there? and he's going to barely miss it, but still breaking 440 and a 4:39.8 in the 500-yard freestyle. And the 5 for second is going to be close, but it looks like lane 4, who is Colin Wolfmeyer, is going to finish in second. Colton Martinez close behind in third with a 4:55.6. And then also for your Ouachita Tiger Sharks in lane 3, Jack Hoyen with a 5:00.7. And folks, it looks like we're going to a bit of a break here after the 500-yard freestyle. After this, we'll be back with some more diving in the 1 meter diving, and Lena will be back on the mic with us. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we'll be right back with some more swimming action on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law.
No matter where you go in Arkansas, you'll probably run into someone you know. That personal connection is what I love about this state, and it's why we have offices and people across Arkansas. People who share your interest and care if you've been hurt.
A local team who will be on your side, by your side.
So if you were injured in an accident, call us at 1-800-CAR-WRECK.
No matter where you live in Arkansas, we have an office nearby.
We'll be on your side, by your side.
Captain Henderson House. We're a home to call your very own when you're away from yours, with a porch to end your night on, surrounded by friends, sharing stories and old times, and a yard with memories of summertime weddings and picnics after the game. We are so thankful for the life this house has seen for nearly 150 years. Come stay with us and join in on our stories. Captain Henderson House, Inn and Events.
I've heard people say Ouachita.
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 Is it pronounced Ouachita?
Searching for Ouachita Baptist University.
Back in Texas, everybody pronounces it Wichita, but really, it's Ouachita.
Ouachita. Ouachita.
How would you pronounce it?
Ouachita.
Ouachita.
It's Ouachita Baptist University. Get it right.
It's Ouachita, people. It's Ouachita.
Ouachita.
Make Print Mania in downtown Arkadelphia your place to get embroidery, screen printing, trophies, and more. Drop by their store on Main Street in downtown Arkadelphia or visit their website at printmaniatees.com to see how they can help your business or group. Need a shirt for an event? Let Print Mania take care of that. Need promotional materials for your business or organization? You can let Print Mania take care of that too. A family-run local business in Arkadelphia, Print Mania has been serving the public since 1992. Call Print Mania today, 870-246-3803.
Visit the Ouachita campus store for all your Tiger apparel, merchandise, and gifts. If you need something to wear to show your Tiger pride, stop by the Ouachita campus store on the bottom floor of the Evans Student Center to grab a t-shirt, sweatshirt, polo, or more. If you can't stop by the store on campus, visit us online at bookstore.obu.edu. Make your purchase and we'll send it to you. Support the Tigers by checking out the Ouachita campus store. Go Tigers.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do. Be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to
And welcome back to the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, presented by Taylor King Law. I'm joined here by the winner of the 400 IM and senior captain of the Ouachita Tiger Sharks, Noah Smith. Welcome, Noah.
Hey, it's good to be here.
You know, Noah, I know that you just won the 400 IM with a time of 4:09 earlier. Great event, great swim, and you absolutely, trounced everyone else in the race. But, what is it like swimming the 4 IM? I know that it's not, it's typically very fun for a lot of swimmers, but, what was it like? How'd you feel in the race?
Honestly, that was a pretty solid, and I don't want to use the word effortlessly. That might be pretty a strong of a word, but a pretty smooth swim for me, especially this point in the season with the amount of volume we've done this week. But usually getting up behind the blocks for the 4 IM, I just have to tell myself that I can do it. It's a pretty daunting race, but main thing is just executing well and making sure I'm doing the things we work on in practice, and usually it becomes a lot easier than it, could be. So.
Yes, and then I know at this meet also, you guys have been, been breaking a lot of pool records. Miles Schultz just broke one in the 100 breaststroke, and then also I know that you've had some pool records get broken by Truman. So, what has been your goal for this meet? What has been the team's goal for this meet coming into it? I know that after a hard week of training, you wouldn't expect to see lots of tech suits and things like that on.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good point in the season to suit up. I really don't think when else we came in with the pool records on, in our minds. They've always been on the horizon, but at this point in the season, they're usually not something you really go for. But I think we've just executed really well, and with the team, we have a very, especially the guys team right now, being so connected, we're all very connected. We have a very highly motivated, highly driven guys team right now, especially with a lot of good goals in mind. So, I mean, things like pool records have become, hopefully a new normal thing going forward with what we have here on this team right now. So.
And then also, we know that you guys, the men's team, finished in the CSCAA poll recently at number 20 after, being left off in the month of November, or in the month of October, excuse me. The month of November, they finally honored you guys. So what does it mean to, get that, a bit of a semantic award there, but, what does it mean to you guys?
Honestly, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I'd say it's about time, too. We've really put in a lot of work, so it's good to see a little bit of recognition on the national level, especially here in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Just with the program, especially when I was a freshman year, I mean, we didn't even look at this, the polls. It was just not a question. But now what we built up to in the past 3 years, it's very, very rewarding. And it's, I hope we stay in the top 25 by the end of the season, too. That would be fantastic and a very realistic goal for our team.
Yes, and then now going into the final stretch of this meet, you guys have the 200 breaststroke and the 400-yard freestyle relay. Men's team is up by a considerable amount here, 102 to 45. What are your goals going into what is the team goals going into these final two events?
I mean, considering our pattern for this meet, hopefully take down those 4 free relay records. I think it's very doable for our guys team. We were faster in midseason. I think we have a little bit better lineup on that A relay, and I just finish out strong. I think we're in a comfortable position to win this, respectfully, and just finish out strong.
Yep. Thank you so much, Noah. And we're going to take a little bit more of a break here. After that, we're going to take a little bit more of a break, and then we will be back with the women's 200-yard breaststroke following this. And this has been the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. We'll be back. Thank you. and welcome back to the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law. We're going to quickly start up with the 200-yard breaststroke for the women's. In lane 4, it's going to be Tiffany, lane 3, Tiffany Nordstrom noticeably absent. Lane 4, Chloe Myers for Truman. Lane 5, Emma Ballantyne for Ouachita. Lane 6, Allison Heaney for Truman. And in lane 7, Tori Weems from Ouachita. We're gonna be watching Chloe Myers here. She is the fastest breaststroker on this Truman team, but also Tori Weems and Emma Ballantyne, very talented breaststrokers as well. Ballantyne showed that in her breaststroke split in the 400 IM earlier. After the first 50, it is Myers by just a little bit, but Ballantyne close behind. Actually, excuse me, it is not Myers by just a little bit. Over in lane 6, it is actually Allison Heaney leading the pack so far. Then Myers, then Ballantyne, then Weems. Ballantyne gaining a little bit on Myers there. She might have it over Myers going into the halfway point of this 200-yard breaststroke. And at the turn, it is Heaney. It is Heaney, Ballantyne, Myers. Ballantyne just taking a bit of a lead over Chloe Myers. But Allison Heaney over in lane 6 has a considerable advantage over the rest. And what I mean by considerable is still a very easily beaten margin, as Heaney is going into her final 75 here, as Myers takes a little bit of a lead over Ballantyne. Ballantyne still sticking with the pack, though. Going into the final 50, it is Heaney, Myers, Ballantyne within around 2 seconds of each other. Here we go, into the final 25, into the flags. And at the turn, Myers looks to be taking a little bit of a lead over her teammate from Truman, Heaney. Final stretch here. Ballantyne gaining a little bit on Heaney. And it is going to be Chloe Myers in lane 4 taking the come from behind win over her teammate Allison Heaney, who finishes second for Truman. And in third by less than a second is Emma Ballantyne. And finishing fourth is Tori Weems in lane 7. Next up is the men's 200-yard breaststroke. This is heat 1. In lane 4 is going to be Ethan Smith. Lane 5, Angel Medina. Lane 6, Fernando Bastillo. And in lane 7, Alex Schultz. All four considerably talented breaststrokers. Showing Ouachita's depth. These guys have to be in the heat 1, even though Ouachita has such a good breaststroke quarter where these guys could be in heat 2 of many other D2 meets. Nevertheless, going into the first 50, it is a tie in the first 50 between Bastillo and Medina. And coming in third for the Tiger Sharks is Schultz after the first 50. Medina taking a little bit of an advantage over Bastillo. And you're going to watch the differences between Bastillo and Medina. Both very fast swimmers. Medina has a bit of a faster stroke rate, as you see Bastillo gliding through his breaststroke. But nonetheless, it's still fast. It's still very, very fast. It's just the way that he swims, he gets more of a glide from his breaststroke. Alex Schultz, twin brother of Miles Schultz, who just broke the pool record earlier today in the 100 breaststroke. And Medina here going into the 150 wall. Going to finish is going to be first in this heat with a 135 with 150 left to go here. In second at the 150 mark, it's going to be Bastillo barely over Alex Schultz with who has a 140.1. Medina, final wall here. And shoot. He shoots into the wall in a 2:09 for Angel Medina. What a time for Angel Medina at this point in the season. Only 2 seconds off his best. Finishing in second is going to be Fernando Bastillo in lane 6. And just behind him in third is Alex Schultz in lane 7. And in lane 4, Ethan Smith with a 2:15. Next is Heat 2. Lane 3, Miles McIntyre from Truman. Lane 4, Justin Olette, sophomore from Ouachita. Lane 5, Ashton Bailey from Truman. Lane 6, junior from Ouachita, Miles Schultz. And then lane 7, Aiden Moore from Truman. And lane 8, Barrett Troop, senior from Ouachita. Schultz coming out with a considerable advantage already. But over in lane 8, Barrett Troop holding with Schultz. Impressive for the senior. Right now for the Ouachita Tiger Sharks, it is 1, 2, 3. Troop going into the 75 mark ahead of Miles Schultz. Schultz, who already has the team record in the 200 breaststroke with a 159.2, just slightly behind senior Barrett Troop in lane 8. Both swimmers on pace to break a pool record. And at the 125 mark, Schultz just a little bit gaining on Troop, as it looks like he does have his lead back. Schultz went out a bit fast there, but he is gaining it back. Troop, though, right behind him in lane 8, and Olette over in lane 4. It is Ouachita 1, 2, 3 here. No one else behind to even challenge this. It is Schultz, Olette, and Troop. Olette on pace for an incredible time for him. Same with Troop over in lane 8. And Miles Schultz going to finish in lane 6 with a 2:06.4. Lane 4, Justin Olette with a 2:08.6. And in lane 8, Barrett Troop with a 2:09.9. Ouachita goes 1, 2, 3 yet again in another event today, just solidifying their men's team lead even more. Meanwhile, update on the women's side. After the 200 breaststroke, Ouachita now leads 113-99. Excuse me, that might be due to the diving scores being just put in, but still, Ouachita women now lead considerably by 14. And now going into, speaking of the Ouachita women, going into their final swimming event of the day, the women 400-yard freestyle relay. In lane 4 for the Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks is going to be Sophie Derby, Abigail McMahon, Kaylee Sticka, and Emma Ballantyne. In lane 5 for the Truman State Lady Bulldogs, Meg Heverow, Kylie Strobel, Emma Harris, and Emma Traub. In lane 6 for the Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks is Erin Russo, Elise Henderson, Kate McCown, and Anna Phelps. And in lane 7 for the Truman State Lady Bulldogs is going to be Natalie Nagayan, Abby Bombal, Allison Heaney, and Ella Thompson. And we are off after the first 25. In lane 5, Truman has a quick advantage after Heverow, who won both the 500-yard and 1,000-yard freestyle today, comes out absolutely blazing for the Lady Bulldogs. Over in lane 6, it looks like the Lady Tiger Sharks have just a tad bit of a lead behind senior captain Aaron Russo. And coming into the first relay start, it looks like coming out in the 53 is Truman, but just a little under a second and a half behind them are the Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks, headed up by Elise Henderson in lane 6. Truman headed up in lane 5 by Kylie Strobel here. The big tide shifter for the Lady Tiger Sharks here is going to be right here. Elise Henderson, a very talented sprinter, but then also Kate McCown and Anna Phelps towards the end are what are going to be the knockout blows. But Truman has yet to use Emily Traub, who has 3 B cuts for the Lady Bulldogs. All right, here we go. At the halfway point, Truman has a considerable lead as Kate McCown is set to go off for the Lady Tiger Sharks. And here is McCown for the Lady Bulldogs. It is Emma Harris. So going off in this final, going here, her second 50, Kate McCown, and then also in lane 4 is Kaylee Sticka for the freshman for the Lady Tiger Sharks, hoping to possibly catch lane 6, the B relay for Truman State. All right, folks, in the final 25 for both McCown and Sticka for the Ouachita Lady Tiger Sharks, you have Phelps in lane 6 going off, and then going off for the Lady Tiger Sharks is going to be Emma Ballantyne in lane 4. And folks, it is Traub and everyone else. Emily Traub. Emily Traub already had, like I said, win a 50.9 earlier this season to get herself a B cut for the 100-yard freestyle. At it again. Does not look like she's going to be caught here, which means the Truman Lady Bulldogs might be taking themselves a little bit of an advantage here over the Lady Tiger Sharks. We will see how the scoring pans out after this event. Luckily for the Lady Tiger Sharks, they are going to take second here behind Anna Phelps. And then Truman State's B relay in lane 7 is going to finish third behind Emma Ballantyne and the B relay for Ouachita in 4th. Next up is the men's 400-yard freestyle relay. In lane 3, it's going to be Ouachita behind Bennett Bibza, Jack Hoyen, Jacob Lewis, and Jack Stevens. Lane 4 is also Ouachita with Tyler Andrews, Rafael Bastillo, David Ware, and Blaze Hood. Lane 5 is Truman State, A.J. Kohler, Lee Cameron, Colin Wolfmeyer, and Alex Burkhart. Lane 6 is going to be Sam Ragsdale, Ian Redmond, Jeff McCoy, and James Savarese for Ouachita. And lane 7, Evan Grinter, Reed Littall, Peyton Sewell, and Philip So for Truman State. And coming out quickly for the Tiger Sharks in lane 6, Sam Ragsdale. He won the 50 freestyle earlier today, coming out quick again. He's won the 50 and 200 freestyle today, and is coming out quick again with a considerable advantage over Kohler, who is leading out the Truman A relay in lane 5. Kohler, though, coming back a little bit on Ragsdale. And going into the second leg of this relay, Andrews is just going to get a tad bit of a advantage. Yes, Tyler Andrews replacing Ian Redmond, who is absent today. On the A relay for Ouachita, Tyler Andrews is replacing Ian Redmond, and in lane 4 for the B relay, Bennett Bibza replaces Tyler Andrews where he was. And in Andrews' final 25, Andrews is going to Andrews is going to go into Jeff McCoy, who recorded a 45.0 time earlier this season in the 100 freestyle. And here's McCoy off the block. Here he goes. And off the dive, takes himself a big advantage. That's big for the Tiger Sharks. In second is Truman, close behind. And in third is the Ouachita B relay behind freshman David Ware, it looks to be. And here is McCoy running away with it over in lane 6, while lane 5's Colin Wolfmeyer struggles to catch up. And now going into the final lap, going to the final 100 of this 400 freestyle relay is James Savarese. James Savarese has been a notable anchor for this relay so far, winning it for the Tiger Sharks against Delta State at their last home meet and recording a 45 in the C relay for this exact same relay at Oklahoma Christian. Into his final 50, Savarese is blazing fast. And it looks like no one is going to catch him now. Here he goes into his final 25. Can they break the pool record here? Looks to be a 3:04. Can he do it? And they are just off the pool record there. But nonetheless, a win for the Tiger Sharks in first place, and in second place, 5 whole seconds behind them, the Truman State Bulldogs, and in third, only 4 seconds behind them, is the Ouachita B relay, finished off by Blaze Hood. And folks, that is going to be it for your swimming action today. We will be back in just a couple minutes with some diving, but for right now, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching swimming. We'll be right back with some diving here on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law.
We are an intentionally Christian university. We aren't going to apologize for that. But we're also going to challenge your students academically. We all know we learn more when we're challenged. This is also a place, though, where students are going to be invested in. I've spoken to so many alumni, and they come back again and again to telling me stories, naming names of faculty and staff members in specific situations where they invested in their lives, and they look back with the benefit of time and see how formative it was in their life. I think another reason is high impact learning. With the Christian liberal arts, you're going to get that broad experience, but we're also going to go deep. Some of the examples that come to mind is we have science students who spend their summer doing undergraduate research, and that is a gateway for graduate school. I think of some of our business students that we've given $1 million to of our endowment to manage real life experience. Or students who are interested in media and culture who go to the Sundance Film Festival, the premier event, to engage with people across the country in this discipline, but also to engage with Christians. But we're also going to be a place where you graduate. We're proud that in the state of Arkansas, among all colleges and universities, Ouachita has the highest graduation rate. You're going to finish on time, but you're not just going to graduate, you're going to be prepared for graduate school, for work. And so at Ouachita, we'll be a better university because of you. And I believe you'll be better because you were at Ouachita.
We believe in a faith that seeks understanding. So as a university, we believe that all of the various things that we study allow us to really develop a more vigorous faith.
Ouachita Baptist is so catered to growing in your spiritual walk.
My interaction with professors and fellow students in classes and learning has helped me learn more about who God is in my personal life.
One of the beauties of the education that we give to our students is to expose them to the various realms of knowledge, which then equips them as men and women of faith to be able to understand and really appreciate the complicated world in which we live.
Ouachita Baptist has taught me how a love for God and a love of learning really go hand in hand.
By coming to Ouachita and finding mentors on staff or upperclassmen who were older than me, I really started to discover who God was and learn how to go to His Word and His truth and learn who He was.
We want you to be the very best you. We believe that's God's plan for you. We believe that He wants you to develop unique gifts and abilities to the fullest extent and to equip you to have the very best future that you can have.
The American dream to me as an immigrant means having the opportunities that my parents didn't have. Being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed for me to get to this point. It was paying off.
Estoy muy orgulloso de Michael por haberse graduado de colegio.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not had a scholarship. It would just relieved a lot of the financial burden.
Getting directions to Ouachita Baptist University.
Take me back to where we started from. Oh my love, don't let me go. Oh, take me back.
Certainly, there's no better time than now, and I think the sooner the better as you go through life to get your education completed. We wanted it to be practical. We wanted it to be accessible.
Students, I think, that are learning online have the same desires, same needs, and it's up to us to come up with as creative ways as possible of making sure that all those needs are met.
It's not just getting a degree, it's not just checking a box, it's about us investing an education into these students.
At Ouachita, we care deeply for our students, and we are seeking to invest in them every day.
My professors are some of the best people I've ever met. They love me, they care for me, they care about my well-being.
Faculty are so open to helping you, even outside of the classroom. Like the night before the test, they'll stay up till late in case you need help, and they're really open about that, just really helping you understand everything.
The faculty has challenged me in a way that I feel equipped for whatever comes my way outside of Ouachita.
The faculty and staff really pour into me every day in class, but also out of class. They're really invested in my future.
We develop relationships, and we really seek to pour into the whole person.
Whether you realize it or not, you see the work of bats and signs all around Arkadelphia. When you see the Badger equipment trailer on the way to a Badger game, bats and signs did that. When you're watching the Badgers, Tigers, or Reddies and see the signage that just really makes their facilities pop, bats and signs did that too. You see the signage in downtown Arkadelphia, on the campuses of Ouachita and Henderson, or the sign in your neighbor's yard supporting a candidate or their favorite Badger? Yep, bats and sign did that too. Longtime residents and supporters of all things Arkadelphia called Mark, Jared, Chris, or Ryan at Bats and Signs today to see what they can do for you.
Sports Digital Network. I'm here joined again by Lena Conard. Thank you so much for being back, Lena.
Yeah, thank you.
And before we start with the diving, I did want to go over a couple of the pool records that were broken today, a lot more than I actually knew. So first, on the men's side, we had 3 different records broken by OBU today for Wagoner Pool. First, in the 200 butterfly, Elijah Christensen broke the pool record with a 151.52 after a great race by him. And then in the 100 breaststroke, Miles Schultz, captain on the team, broke the 100 breaststroke with a 56.12. And then at the very beginning of the meet, the men broke the 400 medley relay record with a time of 3:22.16. On that relay, doing backstroke was Barrett Troop, breaststroke was Miles Schultz, butterfly was Elijah Christensen, and freestyle was Sam Ragsdale. That record has been up for a very long time, so it's really great to see that go down. Then on the women's side, Truman came away with some pool records. In the 500, Haverow got both the 500 and the 1,000 record today in very impressive swims for her. In the 500, Haverow finished with a time of 5:01.00, and in the 1,000, Haverow finished with a time of 10:15.12. And then also, both of the relay records went down today with times of, both the relay records went down today for women. First, in the medley relay, the Ouachita women broke themselves a school record with all 4 sophomores, Jameson Tankersley in the backstroke, Keely Holcomb in the breaststroke, Rachel Del Angel in the butterfly, and Dee Dee Christensen in the freestyle. And very impressive performance by those 4 as they finished with a time of 3:56.68, which is enough to break themselves their own school record. And then in the, pool record. And then in the 400 freestyle relay, the Truman State girls won and also broke themselves a pool record in a time of 3:31.73. So, Lena, we've got diving, 1 meter diving now. So what's different about 1 meter than 3 meter? It's something that you have to focus on that's different.
A big one is timing for sure. With 3 meter, you obviously have a lot more time in the air. You have to kind of figure that out. And then 1 meter is going to be a lot quicker. The water's going to come up on you faster. Yeah, so definitely timing's a big one. And sometimes with the approach, you really want to make sure you're getting off that board, getting up tall, tight, and then getting into that dive.
And so divers doing the last couple of their practice dives. And Actually, we might go into one more break before we start the diving. But, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will be right back with 1 meter diving. We'll be just a quick break here, and then we will be right back. This has been Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law.
At Berry & Turnage, we specialize in bringing the law to your corner. We are dedicated to understanding what results you want and to helping you understand what actions we can take on your behalf. With over 30 years of experience and a proven track record of success, Berry & Turnage is here to lead you down a path to the results you need. We will work with you every step of the way to make sure that you understand the choices you are making and feel empowered to make them. Berry & Turnage. Serious injuries require...
No matter where you go in Arkansas, you'll probably run into someone you know. That personal connection is what I love about this state, and it's why we have offices and people across Arkansas. People who share your interest and care if you've been hurt.
A local team who will be on your side, by your side.
So if you were injured in an accident, call us at 1-800-CAR-WRECK.
No matter where you live in Arkansas, we have an office nearby.
We'll be on your side, by your side.
Captain Henderson House. We're a home to call your very own when you're away from yours, with a porch to end your night on, surrounded by friends, sharing stories and old times, and a yard with memories of summertime weddings and picnics after the game. We are so thankful for the life this house has seen for nearly 150 years. Come stay with us and join in on our stories. Captain Henderson House, Inn and Events.
I've heard people say Ouachita. Ouachita. Ouachita.
Is it pronounced Ouachita?
Searching for Ouachita Baptist University.
Back in Texas, everybody pronounces it Wichita, but really, it's Ouachita.
Ouachita. Ouachita.
How would you pronounce it?
Ouachita.
Ouachita.
It's Ouachita Baptist University. Get it right.
It's Ouachita, people. It's Ouachita.
Ouachita.
Make Print Mania in downtown Arkadelphia your place to get embroidery, screen printing, trophies, and more. Drop by their store on Main Street in downtown Arkadelphia or visit their website at printmaniatees.com to see how they can help your business or group. Need a shirt for an event? Let Print Mania take care of that. Need promotional materials for your business or organization? You can let Print Mania take care of that too. A family-run local business in Arkadelphia, Print Mania has been serving the public since 1992. Call Print Mania today, 870-246-3803.
And we're back with Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law. And the divers are finishing up with their last couple practice dives here after what has been a pretty successful swim meet for, I'd say, both sides. Both women's and men's sides have come away with the win. These diving points will go in still, but the women's team is pretty much very far ahead, is pretty much ahead by 1 point. So with no Truman women's divers, the women's team has the win in hand. And then for the men's side, it's already a 100-point victory without diving scores. So it is going to be a very, very good night for the Ouachita Tiger Sharks tonight. So one new addition on the diving side is Sam Goins. So talk more about him, Lena, and what he brings to the table.
Yeah, so Sam was a swimmer who we needed a couple more divers for conference last year, and he was willing to step up and give it a try. He's always willing to throw anything. He takes the corrections well, and he's doing a really good job. This is something completely new to him, and this year he's definitely started to add some more difficulty, some harder dives, so it's fun to see. It's fun to see.
And Sam, along with other men's divers, Carson Powers and Gavin Richardson, make up the three swimmers that you can bring to conference in one slot. So how does the scoring work for conference and diving and stuff?
Yes, so for conference, it's usually 18 people are allowed to score for the swimmers. But what you can do is you can omit one swimmer. So now you have 17 swimmers scoring, but you can put 3 divers in their place. So now, instead of just the regular 18, you have your 17 swimmers plus 3 dive scores. So that can really help to up the scoring overall, especially if they're scoring higher. It scores the same as like an individual event in swimming, so it's the same scoring based on placing. So it really, and this year especially with Gavin and Carson, they should, at this point, place quite high and definitely add to the points.
I do know that D.D. Blankenship of Delta State has made a return, so that he is going to be very challenging to them, but these two divers, both Gavin and Carson, are very talented and have a very big chance to upset him at conference.
Yeah, D.D.'s been around a while. I've dove against, well, not against the men's, but I've dove with him. He's great. He's so fun. And I think it's going to be some good competition. It's always good to compete against people that are just that are going to push you, make you really think about the little details, things like that.
Makes you willing to go off the board a little bit more with some crazier dives, you'd say. Maybe.
Oh, for sure. You're a little more like, maybe I should throw another half on, put another twist, up that DD. Yeah, for sure.
And divers still doing some practice dives. I'm sure that it's just because of Coach Julia, her ability to she's probably noticed something that she wants to fix with her divers before they start competition today. But standing by on the side is the entire Ouachita swim team. Not a single one has left, I believe. They all are here to cheer on their divers as Truman makes their way on out of town. They are from Kirksville, Missouri, so it is a bit further from here than they would want. But after staying the night last night here in Arkadelphia, they're going to be making their way back home today. So we wish them safe travels on their way home.
Yes, for sure. While we're waiting, we can look. I do have the dive scores from the 3-meter diving. So for the women's, in second was Bella with 191.6, a personal best for this season. For a 6-dive meet, and then Abigail with first with a 208.8, also close up there with her personal best. And then we have for the men's, Gavin in second with a 246.7, and Carson with a 264.5 for first.
Those two boys, Carson and Gavin, have been very, very close all season.
Yes.
Not one has really taken an advantage, and it is kind of nice to have some friendly competition between your teammates, even though they both are very, very talented divers.
Oh, for sure. It's good to see. You will notice a lot of times that Carson, 3 meters like really his thing, and then for Gavin, it's a little bit more 1 meter. So we tend to see Carson pushing through on the 3 meter with the higher score, and then Gavin doing the reverse on the 1. But overall, it kind of goes back and forth. They both push each other. They're both willing to have someone like that. You're going to try to up your degree of difficulty. You're going to try to add to your dives. So throwing some new things recently, and it's going well.
So as a diver, I have to ask, do you ever, whenever you see the diving scores of someone from like another meet, so let's say you're diving over here, and you see that a Delta State swimmer or a West Florida swimmer put out this type of score, does that push you at this specific meet, or do you have to see them in person for you to start, getting pushing to, do your dives better, or add a more difficult dive to your list?
I'd say we definitely, when I was diving, I would keep up with the scores. I would kind of see where people are going as the season progresses, because a lot of times those first couple meets, you're never like, everybody's getting back, but kind of see where their average sets, knowing. And that kind of tells me I can look at what dives they have, what dives they started adding this season, and seeing where they're upping their difficulty. So then, in turn, you can kind of up your difficulty to match and stay at the same level. So definitely, you do look at the scores to kind of see where people are at. But until you're really in a meet, sometimes it doesn't quite feel like you're pushing to beat them, if that makes sense.
And it looks like here we are just about to start the diving event here. Like we said, there's only 6 dives today, but we do have an extra. Competitor with Sam Goins being added on. Sam swam the 200 butterfly earlier, and here he is now. You also experienced swimming and diving at once in one season, both in the same season. Does the fatigue from swimming ever affect how you perform in diving?
It definitely can a little bit. You can get pretty tired overall, but I'd say if you pace yourself and don't do too many, I mean, obviously he's not doing all of his events, but it still can add to it. You can feel kind of tired, worn out into the meet, so you really got to push through to finish out, especially with this event being the last event of the day. You've already been here all day long, so you can add to it. But our order for 1 meter is going to go Bella Howell, Abigail Connard, Samuel Goins, Gavin Richardson, and Carson Powers.
And then what is the order? What is Bella doing here? What is her dive?
She's going to be doing a front 1.5 pike. So 1.5 flips, landing head first. Hands first. There we go. Good dive, a little bit over, you'll see, but still overall it was a nice pike. Good to see. Abigail Conard will also be doing a 103B, so a front 1.5 pike. A lot of times, like I've said, you'll see a lot of divers do similar dives in a certain order. It's kind of a preference thing, but each diver has an order that they like. Very nice. Good height on that one. Very nice dive. Little over on the entry, but still a really good dive. Next we have Sam. Same.
Bit of a mix-up there on the diving. Gavin forgot Sam's going up first.
It's a little confusing sometimes. Yep, so Sam, same thing. We're going to have a front 1.5. This one will be in a tuck position, however. This is a newer dive for him. I think he's added it either very into last season or beginning of this season, so pretty exciting. There it is. A little short, but still good height, good rotation.
And another thing I was going to ask is that little knob on the side of the diving board. So can you explain to the audience, how that does and how does that affect how the diving board works?
Yeah. So the thing on the side, that's called a fulcrum. Basically, you move it to adjust how bouncy the board is going to be. The further back you push it, the more bend the board is going to have. The closer to the end of the board you push it, the more tight the board is going to be. It's not going to bend and bounce as much. So a lot of times, as you progressively get better at diving, you're going to move that fulcrum more and more back. You want the board more and more bouncy. But when you first start out with diving, a lot of times you don't have it super bouncy. So yeah, this is going to be a 105B, so a front 2.5 pike. Very nice, a little short but good. He just recently upgraded that to a pike. It was a tuck before, so that adds to the degree of difficulty. Yeah, good dive.
Howl up, ready for round 2 here.
A front double. Again, dive. She can do this one well. It's a little bit, definitely one of her harder dives though. So, but I believe in her. She's going to do good. Little bit of a smack, but it still counts. As long as the feet hit first, it's still going to count as a full rotation. It's that way for all of your dives. If it's landing on your head, as long as your hands touch first, they will count the dive. Same for the feet. Feet first, as long as it hits first, still does count. Abigail, same thing, a 104C, so front double tuck. Ooh, very nice. You can see it had a ton of power. Really needs to be a 105. Add that ending onto your head, but very good dive. She had a good takeoff. Doubles can be really hard. Feet first in general can be really hard to just find that landing. Versus head first, you can kind of correct a little easier. It's going to be a 301C, so a reverse dive tuck. There you go. Good height. Very nice. Nice takeoff. A little over, but still a very good dive. So this will be an inward 1.5 tuck. Inwards are always my favorite. Very nice. You can see with that inward, what you really want to have to do for this dive is you have to jump, throw your hands over, and you need to pop those hips up to get the rotation, which he did very well. This will be a back 1.5 pike. Again, recently upgraded it to a pike to add to that degree of difficulty. There you go. Good dive, good height, little over, but still a good dive. On to round 3.
Next up, Bella Howell up again for her 3rd round. One thing we've not mentioned about Bella yet, she's from around the Dayton, Ohio area, so very long way from home. here.
Yes. We found that, honestly, all the divers, we tend to be from far away. We got Florida, Texas, Ohio, Kansas. We got all the states here with the divers.
Yes, you and Abigail both from Kansas, so.
Yes. It's a ways away, but definitely, it was definitely the best choice. We made a good choice, I believe. It's become home for sure. This is Abigail with a 203B, so a back 1.5 pike. I personally do think this is one of her best dives when she does it well. Very nice. Good job. Good dive overall. Good takeoff. A little whipped at the end, but still a very good dive. Sometimes backs can be really hard to really spot and know where you are in the air. I feel like forwards wise, sometimes you're a little easier to correct. Back, you're a little more just hoping for the best.
And Goins wastes no time on that dive, getting off as soon as he can.
Oh yeah, right on the board, right off the board. Good dive though, very nice reverse flip. Okay, this will be a front full twisting 1.5. Woo. You can see right there, his feet almost completely slipped off the board there, but he still took the approach, still took the dive, and pulled out a very good dive. That's the thing in competition. You got to take what approach you get, whether it's good or bad. Just got to go with it, and he did that very well. Crossing with an inward. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah. A reverse 1.5 pike. Again, he's really trying to upgrade a lot of his dives to pike just to add to that degree of difficulty, to really try to up his scores as he's trying to go for that NCAA cut.
And here we are on to round 4.
Will be a back dive straight. Very nice, very clean. It's a simple dive, but when done well and clean, it can score extremely well. This would be a back 1.5 half, so 1.5 flips with a half twist. Very nice. The height, the rotation, beautiful.
Lots of good dives from Abigail Connor today.
Yes, I feel like she's doing really well. Obviously, she had that smack on the double, but honestly, that just shows that she's ready to add on to that double and make it a 105. Go with Sam. Back again, a back dive straight. There you go, a little short, but had some good height on there, so that one's a hard one to really get up and over. This will be a back 1.5 tuck. One thing you'll notice is the little towel that they're holding. A lot of people always ask questions about that. So that's what's called a chamois. It's basically this amazing material that it can absorb water super quickly, but then as soon as you wring it out, it's basically perfectly dry again. And the reason we use these is you need to be able to grab onto your legs, especially for those tucks, fast flipping. You need to be able to grab onto your legs and hold, and when your legs are wet or your hands are wet, oftentimes you'll slip off. So we'll use the towel to dry off our legs, dry off our hands to really be ready. Also, it helps you from getting too cold too fast.
They're also helped by the hot tub
The
you got
hot
over
tub,
there.
yes, I noticed. Put up the hot tub today. That is a hard thing a little bit with diving, is that when you're waiting in between dives, the muscles start to get a little cold, which can make diving kind of hard. But very nice dive there. You can see hardly any splash, just bubbles, exactly what you want to see.
And now we're headed on to round 5. Just 2 more dives for these divers to make their mark. So who do you feel like is doing the best so far?
I mean, honestly, all of them are doing really, really well. It's hard to tell. I see a lot of upgraded dives, a lot of good stuff. Abigail's definitely doing really well. But Bella, again, she's doing well. She's got the technique. All the guys are doing well. And Sam is, as always, doing his best.
Always a great time to watch Sam Goins go off the board.
Oh, for sure. It makes my day. It was a good try. Again, that's a dive she's working to upgrade right now, so it's a newer one. It can be really hard, especially you get a little nervous in the meet to do something that's newer to you, that you haven't practiced a ton, but she still made it around. She's getting there.
So that was a completed, or did you think she failed on that one?
She did. They did count it completed, but I believe she got around a 2 or 3.
Okay.
Very nice there. You see she was straight up and down again. One thing you really you can watch is on those entries, what you want to see is like no splash. You just want to see the little bubbles come up. That means they really went through the water hard. They had their hands are tight. What you really want to see.
And here you see Sam Goins again going off the board.
Be an inward dive tuck. There you go. We had some good height there. A little over on the entry, but very good height.
And you hear the old Ouachita faithful cheering on the divers here.
Oh, for sure. Always fun to hear them cheer. I believe this will be a back 1.5 half. Again, 1.5 flips with a half twist. Very nice. I feel like that dive's one that's always really solid for him. He always has a good entry, good height. I love watching that one.
Gavin Richardson's bread and butter right there.
For sure. This is going to be an inward 2.5. I believe this might be the first time this season he's doing it on 1 meter. I may be incorrect, but he's been recently upgrading this one. Good try. A little short. You really want to be able, for those dives, you need to really, what we call ride the board. You need to stay on the board as long as you can and let the board get you up high, but still a very good dive, good rotation.
And we head into the final round here.
Bella Howell, I believe this should be a backflip half twist. Maybe she's going for. I was incorrect. I believe she was going for a backflip full twist. They did count it. It was really close. We'll go with Abigail Connor's last dive. I always love to see how each diver has a different way of like starting for their dive. Everyone has their own little routine and they do it the same every single time. Beautiful inward 1.5. Good height, good rotation, beautiful entry. Love to hear them cheer. So this should be a back dive half twist. There we go, very nice. It's a hard one to do, but he does it well. This will be a reverse 1.5 in the tuck position. Again, each diver has their little things they do before they start their dive. Last breath, then they go. A little over, but amazing height, amazing rotation. Just got to kick out a little bit sooner. Another back 1.5 half, 1.5 flips, half twist. Good entry, a little ways from the board, a little further than he would have liked, but still a very nice entry, good dive.
And folks, after that dive by Carson Powers, it looks like that is going to be it for this broadcast. Thank you so much, Lena, for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Also, big thanks to all who worked all who worked today on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much to Nathaniel Hollis, Christian Kratz, Zach Baker, Madeline Koltzer, and Coleman Callan. I am Isaac Bourne on the mic for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back with more sports later this week on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, brought to you by Taylor King Law.
I'm Nicole Auerbach from The Athletic.
Hey, this is Alex Pruitt with Sports Illustrated Magazine.
This is Kevin Kugler of Westwood One.
Hi, everybody. It's Pete Kranick of the Memphis Grizzlies and Fox Sports Southeast.
This is Danielle Musselman.
This is Kyle Peterson with ESPN.
This is Tom Hart of ESPN and the SEC Network. Thanks for tuning in to the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.